found the Tony Basilio stream at TonyBasilio.com or on your smartphone or tablet. Another thrilling, chilling, and sometimes spilling edition of the Basilio Show is on the way next. Tips are always appreciated here at TonyBasilio.com.
WJBE 1040 AM, 99.7 FM. Translator W259AB. Powell.
Fired up, focused, and prepared. Tony Basilio along with you. Phil Steele's going to meet the media today. We're going to put him through the car wash here over at tclub.team. Turn my video on. I want people to see how pretty I am today because I look pretty. Brian Hartman, we've invited Phil Steele on. We've been doing this dog and pony show with Phil Steele for like 30 years now. As long as he's had a book, I don't know. We found him the first year. And I talked about it today on the blog over at tclub.team. But, look, I'm not exactly high on Tennessee this year, although some of the kids talk me into it. And I love it. I'm for you, not against you. And I'm all into the glass half full thing, but you got to have playmakers. That said, I'm not as out as Phil Steele. I mean, my gosh, Matt. Phil Steele thinks we're slaw. He thinks we're Vanderbilt, Matt. What's going on here?
He's certainly playing the under on the win total.
The under? You think?
It's kind of odd that he has Tennessee as low as he projects them to finish as low as he does. So,
Brian,
I mean, I think they're 44th in the one that kind of projects the season.
Yep.
They're actually 20th in his kind of power poll thing. Yep. But I mean, if you finish 44th, I mean that's going 7-5, maybe 6-6.
He's got Nebraska 28th and Florida State 31st.
Yeah, but that doesn't something in Denmark doesn't smell right here because none other than, and Phil Steele's going to join us here momentarily, but none other than my boy Robert Killer Kowalski told me Tennessee's a 9-point favorite against Nebraska in the on a neutral field this year. So nothing about that makes sense. Does Phil, as we say with Powell, does Phil need to check his? Does he need to check his? You think, Matt, his system here? Does his system need a checking?
Yeah, he needs to rerun the models. So, which I mean, it's actually something we can ask him about with in this portal era with so much roster turnover. How do you use numbers to project teams? Because it's got to be harder than ever because you literally have no clue. And Tennessee might be the biggest test case ever that he's had with Nico leaving after spring.
Phil Steele he calls in his write-up, he calls the Vols a potential playoff team, then puts them 44th. But, you know, Matt, to your point, I mean, imagine being him and having 130 teams that you take seriously. And if you look at his stuff, he does take 130 teams seriously. And then as these guys are leaving, and then when Nico pulls a trick and walks right out on them in the middle of the spring, what is Phil supposed to do? I mean, stop and think about it, guys. What is he supposed to do? How are you supposed to handle that? Like Matt said, Brian, true or false, 9 ACC teams ranked ahead of the Vols. 9 ACC teams, Brian, is that right?
That's what I counted, except including Florida State, who was 2-10 last year.
No, I love Phil Steele. Is he huffing paint?
And
is this
Louisville.
Is this guy huffing paint? Louisville.
But if they're a playoff contender, did the playoffs expand to 32 teams without us knowing it?
Yeah. What are we going to like the 1AA model of 24 teams?
I mean, is it basketball style now? Who knows?
True or false, Matt Dixon? He has Florida State, who went 2-10 last year, and is cash poor on 10 continents right now. I think Tennessee's got 5 times more money available than Florida State does. Florida State's got these onerous NIL contracts they've been talking about, which basically own these kids lock, stock, and barrel when they sign with them, and people have been ripping them across that space. I mean, what are we doing, Matt? Does this Phil Steele guy, Matt, hate us? Is that what's going on here? Does this guy hate us?
Man, he must take the 2025 Vols. Maybe Heupel didn't give him an interview this year or something, because it's not like Tennessee has some brutal schedule.
My gosh,
it's one of the more favorable schedules. So,
I mean, don't let Bino see this. Don't let Bino see this. Don't let Bino hear this. Bino, turn it off. Turn your device off, Bino. Here's the deal. NC State, guys, true or false, who we beat like a drum last year. Brian, does he have them ahead of us this year, yes or no? What are we doing?
Yes, he does. He has them at 41. And he didn't see the game last year, I guess, but he watches all these games.
So 20th,
has 20 TVs in front of him.
20th in his preseason power poll, but 9th in the ACC. It must be a hell of an ACC, Matt. I mean, what can I say? Here's the thing about Phil Steele. We've gone round and round, right, in the past. I put a thing on the blog today about there was a year where he was right about the Vols crashing and burning, and I called him back at midseason and had him on and said, you get to take a victory lap. And then there was one year where he did this and the Vols had a good year, and he came back around and came on with us and said, hey, I'm going to own it. So we've been doing business with Phil Steele for a long time. I can have some fun with him. I reserve that right. We are going to have some fun with him, but we are also going to talk about when you're in his prognostication business, and more to the point, when you're in the business of trying to set lines for this, because he over there with their gambling service at Gold Coast, they sell touts and whatnot. But when you're in that whole space, how do you quantify what's in front of you, especially in the summer, especially in light of what's happened here at Tennessee? We're going to have a most interesting conversation with Phil Steele, as they call him on Feinbaum's show. And we're going to come back on the other side, and we're going to commence with that. Matt, are you pumped for this? Because we also got to get some lines for every Tennessee game. Bri, do you have those written out when I go through the schedule? Are you ready to fill in the blanks?
Yeah.
All right.
And the playoff teams from last year, the lowest ranked playoff team, he's got all 11 of them, 23rd or higher. Arizona State's 23, and Tennessee is 44.
My gosh, man. This guy hates
Indiana
us.
20, Boise State 15, SMU 12, Oregon 8, and the top 6 he's got.
He's going to be
Where does he have UCLA, Brian?
He's going to have.
I don't see UCLA in his top 60.
He's going to have Chris Fowler.
Nico, he thinks is that good.
He's going to have
UCLA is not even ranked in his top 60.
He's going to have us in a trailer park frenzy before it's over. Chris Fowler, as we continue, he'll join on the TLD Logistics phone line after this.
Are you searching for a great local coffee? I'm Billy with Grade A Grounds. You can buy our freshly roasted coffee online and support a good cause with every sip. Great coffee, greater causes. Visit our website today, gradeagrounds.com.
Tonight, we're kicking off our homestand. It's Lance Reinl, your manager with your Knoxville Smokies. Join us tonight and all week for fun promotions and great baseball every night. Go Smokes.
Summer is officially here, and the last thing you want during sweltering heat is a broken air conditioner or HVAC system. That means it's more important than ever to keep you and your family comfortable and safe when extreme Tennessee temperatures arrive. Don't ignore the warning signs that your AC is struggling or nearing the end of its lifespan. And if you need emergency HVAC repairs, routine preventative maintenance, or want to invest in a new system, then call the trusted HVAC experts at Pipe Wrench Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. This month, get up to a $1,000 discount when you buy and install a new air conditioner or HVAC system. We make it easy with free on-site estimates for replacements and free second opinions on repairs. And if budgets are tight, we offer flexible payment plans including 0% financing with credit approval. Be sure to ask about our 10-plus year warranties that are 2 times longer than industry standards, so you don't spend a cent on unexpected costs in the future. So call Pipe Wrench at 865-264-8090 or book online at pipewrench.com to schedule your appointment today. And as always, same-day service guaranteed or the visit is free.
Life never stops moving, and between the 30-minute commutes, daycare pickups, weekly soccer practice, Tuesday night yoga, X number of coffee runs, and that weekend trip to Grandma's, you're racking up the miles. What you need is a tire that can keep up. A tire designed for doers. A tire that's going to last. Like the exceptionally long-lasting Michelin Defender tire. With an 80,000-mile warranty and the safety and comfort you expect, you can forget all about the miles ahead and focus on getting to your destination or conquering your to-do list. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. That's Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire.
Jeff Hall here. I'm a partner at Rather & Kittrell Capital Management. And here at Rather & Kittrell, we understand that life is full of transitions. Since 2000, our team of dedicated certified financial planners has been helping individuals, families, and businesses navigate these changes with confidence. From comprehensive wealth management to tailored retirement plans, we're committed to guiding you toward a secure financial future. Ready to take the next step? Visit rkcapital.com or call us at 865-218-8400 to start your journey today. Rather & Kittrell is a registered investment advisor.
Out-of-town law firms have been swarming into East Tennessee lately. From Memphis, Chattanooga, and Birmingham, they've stormed into the area. Wouldn't you rather do business with a local firm? You know, a true neighbor. Marcos Garza and the pros at the Garza Law Firm are just that. There are neighbors and friends that support local causes year-round. The Garza Law Firm works to serve you professionally on criminal matters, injuries and accident matters, and Social Security and disability filings. The Garza Law Firm is here for you at garzalaw.com. The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Are you stuck in a dead-end job or ready for a new challenge? Do you feel like it's time to try a new career? Well, it's time to change lanes with TLD Logistics. My friends at TLD Logistics have some really exciting opportunities for you to learn a new skill. With a new 5-acre driving academy that's now under new leadership with all new course material. And the best part, it's absolutely free. What a great deal to set you on the road to higher pay. And TLD Logistics even offers weekly stipends to offset food and gas expenses. In 6 weeks' time, you could complete this course and be in compliance with FMCSA regulations. Then you're ready for the open road of opportunity. What are you waiting for? It's time to change lanes with TLD Logistics. Visit tldlogistics.com. That's tldlogistics.com. TLD Logistics.
A lime is not always just a lime. You see, some limes are lucky. For when a lime joins the salted rim of a crisp, refreshing Tres Dos Equis, that lime is no longer a mere lime, but a wedge of renowned Mexican limón. Muchas gracias, limón. And also, de nada. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Copyright 2024 Dos Equis, imported by Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York.
Hey there, Basilio family. Jennifer Morse here with Keller Williams Realty. The countdown to fall football is on. Is your fall plan missing the perfect home to watch the Vols make another playoff run? If a new view is on your game day checklist, I'm ready to help you find it. Don't wait until kickoff. Give me a call today at 865-694-5904 or visit my website at nextmovesmokymountains.com. That's nextmovesmokymountains.com, and go Vols.
Josh Collins at Collins Insurance Agency. At Collins Insurance, we strive to ensure our customers receive better coverage along with bigger savings. Our community is important to us. We want to provide exceptional service to our customers. Anybody can provide great rates, great coverage, but can you also get great service? And hey, don't just take my word for it.
What's up, everybody? Zakai Ziegler here. My family turns to Collins Insurance Agency for the best service, coverage, and price.
So don't just go online and get some random insurance. Experience the Collins Insurance difference.
Like he said, experience the Collins Insurance difference. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. And hey, their Mama ZZ approved. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. Thank you to Josh Collins and ZZ.
One more thing, Tony. Go Vols!
Preparing food for a big gathering can really take it out of you. That's why you need to call Calhoun's and check out their selection of party platters. Whether you're hosting a party for the big game, a reunion, or just an everyday gathering, a Calhoun's party platter is next level. Choose from Calhoun's always excellent chicken tenders, fly with Calhoun's wings, or boneless wings with a variety of dipping sauces, award-winning next-level melt-in-your-mouth barbecue ribs, or delicious spinach artichoke dip, or get one of each. Plus, if you're doing burgers or sandwiches, Calhoun's has lots of side dishes like spinach Maria, baked cinnamon apples, Smoky Mountain baked beans, or creamy coleslaw. Available in pints, quarts, and gallons. And to finish things off, pick up one of Calhoun's great desserts to go, including homemade cheesecake or key lime pie. Calhoun's, simply your go-to party headquarters. With 9 locations all over East Tennessee, you can order online and just pick it up. Calhoun's, one of the Copper Cellar family of restaurants, along with Chesapeake's, Copper Cellar, Corner 16, Cherokee Grill, and Smoky Mountain Brewery. Eat local, eat good. So, live radio, it's fun, always fun stuff, right? Till somebody gets hurt. What do they say? It's always fun till something. Phil Steele is now DMing me. Okay. He's telling me that he's trying to call me, but it says it cannot be completed. You know, this is fun. I looked down at our modem when we went to the break, and it was dead. And it was unplugged. And that's fun because, well, the fun thing about doing this is that a million things can go wrong and usually do. It seems our little pet, Lulu, kicked the cord out from our modem overnight last night. So if I miss my man Phil Steele, I don't miss Phil Steele, though. Because the great Phil Steele, the annual's out. He had to wait to go to press, probably because of that idiotic Nico situation. Not to mention this stupid spring transfer portal. Phil Steele, welcome in. I hope you're well, and I hope the summer's treating you okay thus far, my friend.
Tony, 31 years, buddy. 31 years we've been doing this. Thank you. Thank you for having me on the very first year of the magazine, 1995, and doing well. And I tell you what, you mentioned the transfer portal. That thing is a pain in my butt. And the thing I noticed this year, Tony, which was remarkable, is that a lot of the kids that signed in the winter left after the spring was over. They can't even stay out of school for a couple of months now.
It's just utterly stupid. You know, Watson Brown joins us. He used to coach at Vandy, you know, way back in the day, and he joins us every Wednesday, and he's like, you know, the problem with today's game is offensive linemen don't stick around if they don't play right away, which inhibits their growth, and quarterbacks don't stick around. Like, I'm looking at Nico's class, and a lot of those guys are on school number 2. A lot of them are on school number 3. It's no wonder the NFL can't find quarterbacks, Phil. It's no wonder it's no wonder the Southeastern Conference can't find reputable quarterbacks compared to years past.
Yeah, and what are we teaching the kids nowadays, too? You know, every time you get a little bit of trouble, just leave, go somewhere else. The grass is greener on the other side. That's not the way to bring a player up. I mean, how do you grow as a player jumping from system to system?
Well, and that's why I'm going to quit you after today. Because you have my Vols like in the mid-40s, and say, in this day and age, if you don't tell me what I want to hear and get in my echo chamber, I cancel you. See, that's how this works now. So we're going to carry on like the kids do on social media. Phil, how much of what you do when you put those rankings together, how much of it is feel? How much of it is just from your perspective, just spitting and throwing the information into the machine, and this is what the numbers tell me?
I would say the numbers are probably 75% of what I do. And then you take a look at the numbers, and sometimes I'm like, well, that's pretty strong. And the numbers, by the way, have got me to be the most accurate magazine over the last 30 years. But when I look at the numbers, there are times where I say, you know what, I'm looking at the schedule, and I'm going to go a little different than that. But I would say the majority of the time I do side with what my computer numbers come with, because it's 9 different sets of power ratings. It's tried and true, and I do adjust it for all the different changes that are going on in college football nowadays. And it's worked out pretty well.
we put in the blog today, I put a little account of the time that you came on and predicted doom for the Vols, and I roughed you up in the summer. And then we brought you back that fall, and I said, hey, man, take a victory lap. And you were like, well, nobody's ever let me do that before. And then there was another time where you predicted that Tennessee was going to have a long season, and they actually went on and had a pretty good year, and we brought you back, and we had some fun with you. And so, the thing about what you do is, obviously, you're not always going to get it right. Nobody does. But you have to kind of believe your numbers, don't you? Now, let me ask you this. If Nico stays, right, what do you think Tennessee looks like in your magazine? Because certainly they're not 44 in America. That quarterback component is obviously a huge part of this modern game.
Yeah, it definitely is. And, I did that's an interesting question you have, Tony, and let me take you back to February. In February, I do my predicted AP top 10, and the worst we've ever done on my projected AP top 10 is hit 9 of the 10 teams. Half of the years, I think we've been doing it for 15 years. 8 of the years we've had 10 of the 10. I tell you who the AP top 10 is going to be in August, 6 months in advance. We've hit 10 of 10. 8 of the 15 years, and 9 of 10, 7 of the 15 years. Well, this year, I had Tennessee number 10 in my February one, but after Nico left, I actually had to pull him out of there sometime, whenever that happened. It was, April? And I switched Miami of Florida in there. It's the first time I've ever had to make that change. So, yes, I would have been a lot higher on Tennessee had Nico been there. I still think Tennessee can have a good year this year. No doubt about that. And when you look at the schedule, I probably have them right now at 9-3 on the year. In fact, when we go through the lines like we always do, I've got them favored in 9 of their 12 games this year. But I would have had them even higher than that.
Phil Steele's magazine is out. Don't you dare go through the college football season without it. We never do around here. Travel with it. Bring it to the live remotes when we're down at Calhoun's on the River. You'll see it sitting with us. It's a great reference in the moment for our winners and losers program that we do. It is absolutely a must to keep near you at all times. It's a terrific reference, and Phil has got this thing down to an absolute science, but he also has Tennessee 44th in the country from where he projected the AP would have him at 10, which is a precipitous fall after Nico walks out. And Phil, just as an aside here before we dig into the Vols, where do you have UCLA? Where do you see them now that Nico's gone there? Because Tennessee and UCLA are going to be linked this year. I think they're going to get great ratings whenever they play here locally, if you know what I mean. A lot of hate watching going on.
Well, yeah, one thing I do want to mention, though, is I also have a power poll in the magazine, which is where I rate the strength of the teams. And in the power poll, I have Tennessee number 20.
Yeah.
So I do think they still are a very talented team, a top 20 team. It's just the schedule, the way it played out this year, had me down at the run when I was racing through the top 40. That's why I put them at the 44 spot. But UCLA, I do not have ranked. I have them number 14 in the Big Ten. I still have them low. I think they will be an improved team under Deshaun Foster. You look at them last year, they played a hellacious schedule at the start of the year. They played Indiana, LSU, Oregon, Penn State, all back-to-back, and opened up the year 1-5. But they won 4 of their last 6 games last year to finish 5-7, including knocking off Iowa and Nebraska, which were a couple of impressive wins. Talking to Deshaun Foster, I do think he has a better team this year, but I don't think Nico's going to go over there and make a huge difference for them. I still haven't picked at the bottom of the Big Ten this year.
What kind of cast does he have around him when you look at his offense? What kind of cast do you see Nico having?
Well, you look at running back, I would say it's average. Jalen Berger comes over from Michigan State last year, had 178 yards. They've got Javian Thomas coming over from Cal, Anthony Fries. No superstars there. You look at the receiving core, Mikey Matthews is a guy from California that had 272 yards last year, decent. Quasi Gilmore is a guy that played very good in spring practice, had 345 yards last year. So I would rate it as a pedestrian receiving core. I have the receiving core. Running backs not ranked in my top running back units. Offensive line not ranked in my top offensive line units. And wide receivers are ranked number 57. So compared to what he would have had at Tennessee, it doesn't compare.
Phil Steele joining, and then he's living in California, Phil, and he's making half the money. And he's going to take home. We don't even have state income tax here. I mean, I don't understand for the life of me what that kid was doing, but we'll get to that. And I want to get to the Vols here momentarily. Matt Dixon now jumping in as Phil Steele joins. Phil's got the Vols 44th, but 20th in his power poll. In the team write-up, said that he thinks Tennessee could be a legitimate playoff contender in his write-up. Is Phil Steele trying to have it both ways here on the TLD Logistics phone line and in his magazine? Or is it that we're living in such confusing times when we're trying to quantify what's going on in major college football in these sports? And is Tennessee the test case? Matt Dixon, jump in here with us as Matt, you're on with Phil Steele.
Yeah, Phil, always great to talk to you, by the magazine every year. But just talking about these ratings and how you get these, these formulas, like how does that work with the portal and just there's just so much roster turnover. It feels almost impossible to be able to get an accurate gauge, yet you still somehow do for the most part. Like what's changed about your models now that the portal's kind of here and so many teams use it and there's just so much, teams just don't have the same starters back, especially at quarterback.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Matt. A lot of things have changed in the magazine in the last 5 years, no doubt about it. We've gone to the press later to capture all the transfer portal moves that have happened. It used to be as soon as spring practice was over, I could talk to the head coaches and go over the team with them. Now, not only do I have to wait for spring practice to be over, I have to wait for the damn portal to close. So I had to try to cram in 125, 126 coaches calls, all in the month of May, a 30-day process. And that's when I do my third write-through of the magazine. The first write-through, I still do the same exact way. It's right after the season's over. I talk about what kind of position each unit was in coming into the year, what happened during the year, what kind of shape are they for next year. Now, naturally, I know that last part's going to change, and then the second write-through we do at the start of spring when the rosters are announced after the first portal, and I redo the recap part of it. The first two parts of it won't change, and then the third is after talking to the head coaches. Well, as mentioned, now I'm trying to cram all the head coaches into the month of May and get it all done so that I can get this magazine off to the press in June. As far as my formulas go, generally not all transfers work out. And going through the teams with the coaches, you're looking at each player and who signed last year and who did what. There's a lot of transfer portal signees that end up not playing and not producing.
Yep.
So I don't count them as a returning starter unless they've earned the starting job in the spring. And the one thing that I factored into this year when I did the magazine is the continuity of a team. How many teams have a lot of freshmen that they signed, that they brought up? You look at like Ohio State last year, for example. Yes, they had some marquee transfers, but the bulk of the team was signed as freshmen at Ohio State. Same thing with Clemson. They won the ACC. Same thing with Iowa State. They played in the Big 12 title game. Army and Navy had the same players since they signed. All those teams had success last year. So I factored that in a little bit more this year, teams that weren't just going crazy in the portal. I remember I had a conversation with Coach Beck of Coastal Carolina. I said, Coach Beck, man, last year you had 68 new players, but now you're in the third year of the program. At least we're getting some continuity. He's like, Phil, this year we got 69 new players. So there are teams that are just turning over at a ridiculous pace, and that's why I picked teams like West Virginia and Oklahoma State very low in the Big 12 because they just have had so much transfer portal movement. And in West Virginia's case, for example, so many players were coming in after spring practice was over. How do you get a team together if half the team is coming in after spring practice is over? So I think team continuity was a big factor in my ratings this year.
Phil Steele taking a few for us. A great question by Matt because, I mean, look, Florida State last year is case in point. You can look at a roster, but they had zero continuity We had no idea what they were going to do. They were ranked really highly based on the alleged talent that was there. But, Phil, there's just no way of knowing. I mean, I'm watching Vegas. It seems like it takes Vegas about a month to catch up to these teams these days.
Yeah, you hit it right on the head, Tony. It is tough. And, a lot of times the coaches don't know. And so that's why I really, this year in the magazine, you'll see a lot of the teams I've picked higher than other folks have is based on that continuity basis. They know what they have. They know the players have been there, and they've got that team cohesion.
Yep.
These teams that are bringing in 75 new players, it's a bunch of mercenaries. How do you get those guys together believing as a team, whereas a team that's been together a long time, I think they'd have their advantages, and it showed last year.
Brian Hartman jump in here with Phil Steele, who joins us. Again, Phil, we're angry with him right now. He's got the Vols 44th in his poll, but calls Tennessee in his team write-up, and just said it a second ago. He had him 20th in his preseason power poll, and again, we're not breaking news here, but a lot of this is going to depend on how Joey Aguilar adjusts and how quickly, because Tennessee has a navigable schedule. If they can get there, they've got a navigable schedule. It's a matter of getting there. Brian Hartman, jump in.
Yeah, I look at the teams that you maybe 15 through 30 or 25 through 50. Is that a case of you could probably just throw them all in a hat and come up with a different ranking each time because it's hard to separate them? Or what did you see in 9 ACC teams that you've got them ranked higher than Tennessee? You've got Florida State, who was 2-10 last year. They're 13 spots higher than the Vols at 31.
That's not true, Brian. He didn't
Nebraska,
do that.
who's really struggled, they're 28. What about those teams that you see in them that you've got them at whether you have them?
Phil, you didn't do that, did you? You didn't put 9 ACC teams ahead of my Volunteers, did you?
That I can't tell you. I have to go look, but I think Brian's probably looking at the page telling you that right now.
What are we doing here, Phil?
Let me give you full disclosure of what went on with the top 40 rankings this year. All right, completely full disclosure. We were out of time, and I did an article I did a blog on this on philsteele.com, which talked about the fact that we had to hit our deadline of June the 7th or June 6th, whatever it was, or else we were going to get pushed back 3 weeks for the magazine, and we were completely out of time. So I'm frantically typing my top 40 as I was going, and basically I went off my computer numbers, projected wins for the season for the teams on the right-hand column, and then I'm typing in the recap real quick, and I'm trying to do this whole thing in a short period of time. That's why we have a little bit of discrepancy, as you mentioned, Tony, with the fact that when you look at Tennessee, to me there's 2 key games for Tennessee this year. Oklahoma and at Florida. I think they lose against Georgia. I think they lose against Alabama. If they can beat Oklahoma at home and they beat Florida on the road, you're looking at a team that goes 10-2 and makes the playoff for a second season in a row. Now, if they lose to Oklahoma and lose to Florida on the road, then you're looking at an 8-4 team, and that's what my computer must have been coming up with, was 8-4 on them. And when I'm looking at the 8 and typing them in, I'm picking my 9.5s over the 8s. The key for my top 40 rankings is to get the teams with the best records at the end of the year. That's why Tennessee's number 20 in the power poll. But it was a little frantic down the stretch. I got to be honest with you, Tony. On that last day when we're putting the magazine together, I've got some typos on my surprise team page, which you could tell we were just slamming pages out of here in the last day. The majority of the information in the magazine, 98% of the information in the magazine is perfect, and that's what I wanted. I wanted each team page to be perfect, have my write-ups perfect, but there was a couple pages at the end that just sort of got slammed out, and unfortunately the top 40 was one of them, which would probably be, if I had more thought put into it, I probably would have picked Tennessee a little bit higher and not behind 9 ACC teams. So that's a great question. I appreciate you asking it. It was a very unusual year, and I got to tell you, if they stay with this 2 transfer portal thing, I got to move it back to like June 15th to put this thing out and have it perfect like it was, because I was unhappy with some of the typos that got through this year's magazine.
Well,
thank you, Brian.
And here's the deal with Phil. We've known Phil for literally, I called him his first year he was doing the deal. I was a kid doing the deal. And just as a full disclosure here, I would go to this is the world we lived in. I would go to the magazine aisle in the supermarket as a kid and walk in there with a piece. I didn't have $1 to my name. I'd walk in there with a piece of paper, and I would write down who the publisher was, what the phone number was of this one, of that one, of this one, of that one. Phil's like the last guy left, by the way, and he's one of the first guys I called. And we had him on, I think, Phil, you said earlier, that first year. I think we had you on that first year. And I remember you asking me at the time, which kind of stands out to me, how did you find it, or how did you find me, or that sort of thing. But one thing I've known about you is that you've always strived for accuracy. You've never been a clicks and hits guy. That's never been you. You've never been a I need to go viral guy. So a little grace can be afforded to you, because this really right now, what they've done here to this sport in particular is really insane. Like that spring window and the way that fell on, and look, it fell on Tennessee this year, but they're not going to be last. Like starting quarterbacks, now that that bubble's been broken, there's no telling how many of these guys are going to hold it over these teams and say, hey, if you don't pay us some money, we're going to do like Nico did. And it really kind of wrecks your season. It really puts you behind the 8 ball. But more than that, it destabilizes the whole sport. So just a word about Phil Steele. Now let's move along. Go ahead. You and the response. Go ahead.
Let me throw one thing out at you, Tony.
Yeah.
Well, while we got a chance here. Now, all my conversations with the coaches are off the record, and I don't bring up specific things. I'm not going to bring up a specific name, but I can tell you that there's a team that struggled last year, and their coach told me that their starting quarterback was taking during a bye week, took trips. Even though he's still on the team, still a starting quarterback, took trips to school because he was going to enter the portal at the end of the year. That was one of the reasons that the team struggled. So that goes on during the course of the season. Man. Teams are actually recruiting players, which I can't tell you how that would bother me as a head coach.
It run all over me. Like if I was Josh Heupel and a kid came to me in December, and I found out that you're my starting quarterback and that you're talking to other schools in my league, I would tell him and his father, get your stuff and get the hell out of my office. I don't want to see you. We don't need you, because your quarterbacks have to be different. But that's another story for another day. Phil, let's talk about this upcoming Tennessee year. One of the things that you do for us here, which I love, is you'll give us the numbers in terms of looking at Tennessee's schedule. And let's go ahead and go through, if we can, the numbers. And let's start on August the 30th with Syracuse. What's the number you have by that game?
I got Tennessee a 14-point favorite in that one.
Okay. By the way, what kind of club does Syracuse have, and do you find them dangerous in that one? Are they potentially dangerous? Because I know the Brown guys does a really nice job. The McCord kid being out of eligibility helps Tennessee. They were very good at the end of last year. Do you think Syracuse comes into that one with a fighting chance, or no?
No, I got Tennessee by 14. When you look at Fran Brown, he did a tremendous job last year. They do bring in Steve Angeli coming over from Notre Dame, but not the experienced quarterback that Kyle McCord was. They lose their top running back, 1,000-yard rusher, and LaQuint Allen. They lose their top 3 receivers from last year. They lose the bulk of the offensive line and a good portion of the defense as well. I thought last year he had a more veteran unit, brought in some key transfers, but this year with just 2 starters back on offense, I think Syracuse is going to struggle, and they play a brutal schedule as well, so there would be nowhere near last year's 10-win total. I like the Vols to win that one, especially with the game in Atlanta.
First of many difficult games for Syracuse this year. I do think Fran Brown does a nice job. All right, ETSU, do you have a number by that?
Over 40.
All right. The Georgia game, September 13th in Knoxville. It's a 3:30 start, one of those marquee window games. What do you think?
I've got Georgia winning the SEC this year. In fact, I think they'll be favored in all 12 of their games. Last year, remember, they had to play 3 really tough road games, and it caught up to them a little bit during the season. I've got Georgia a 6-point favorite in that game, even in Knoxville. Early Vegas line that I saw in the game did have Georgia a 7-point favorite.
That's respectable. It seems like the gap is closing. Georgia kind of coming back to the pack, even though they're a favorite. What is the smallest line that you have next to Georgia? Do you have that near you, or do you have that offhand?
Yeah, let me flip over to my page.
Sure.
I read all the lines that I go through every game, and
sure. Take your time.
The shortest line I have is the Texas game at 3.
Wow.
And then the Alabama game at 4. But both of those games are at home for Georgia.
So Tennessee on the road is a 6-point favorite. They're a 6-point favorite, which is a highly respectable number. Moving along, the UAB Blazers on September 20.
How about 38?
How about damn? How about that sounds painful?
Trent Dilfer has his one arm tied behind his back with that UAB organization that they have going on there. Tough time keeping players. I remember in the spring he just lost basically everybody. His job's on the line, but it shouldn't be a reflection on Trent Dilfer. He's got one arm tied behind his back.
Yeah, I don't know how you do it at a spot like that unless you are able to just find guys and continue to put into the top of the funnel, because they're coming out of that funnel faster than they should in the modern age. Mississippi State on September 20.
I got Tennessee a 10-point favorite on the road.
All right. Arkansas in a return engagement of last year, a game in Neyland Stadium on October 11.
Both teams coming off a bye. Tennessee playing with revenge. I went Tennessee minus 10 in that one. Normally I'd have it tighter because Sam Pittman is a tremendous underdog coach. This guy pulls more upsets than any coach, around. And when he does lose, they usually lose close ones against the big boys. But the fact Tennessee's playing with revenge, I've made it 10.
Alabama on October 18 there.
I've got Tennessee a 10-point dog at Alabama. I think Alabama under Kalen DeBoer is going to have a fantastic second season. Remember his second season at Washington. They made it all the way to the national title game. I know they're replacing their quarterback, but this is a loaded Alabama team, and they're at home where they just don't lose. So I've got a 10-point favorite. I did see an early Vegas line on that, which has Alabama an 11.5-point favorite.
See, I think it's curious that people are sleeping on DeBoer in Alabama. Two things. First of all, he's recruiting really well going forward. Secondly, if they can figure it out here in year 2 with Ty Simpson, and I think they're going to be very good as well. They're a team I'm buying. So you might ought to reconsider your position. But it just seems like this guy has been a stone-cold winner everywhere he's been. Why wouldn't he win there? It makes sense that he's going to win there.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with you 100% on all accounts, Tony.
Kentucky is a club that looks like, with Stoops, to watch the life cycle of these coaches, and it looks like he's at kind of towards the bottom of his rung a little bit, at least in this iteration. What is your number in that one on October the 25th?
Kentucky's always tough as a home underdog, but I think the Vols are the better team across the board. So I've got Tennessee a 7-point favorite in that game.
November the 1st, a very curious, interesting team. Mateer comes in, one of these high-profile transfers with his offensive coordinator from Washington State. How much of Mateer will be left by November the 1st with the schedule Oklahoma plays? I believe you mentioned them earlier, and if you didn't, look, Texas got the generous schedule. Oklahoma's gotten the short end of the stick here with those two teams coming into the league. And last year it was tough going for them, tough sledding. What's your number here way out on November 1 when Oklahoma visits Knoxville?
Yeah, and to me this may be the key game on the Tennessee schedule as to what type of team they are, and a key game on the Oklahoma schedule as well. I actually have the game a toss-up, Tony. And the reason is this. When I went over that roster with Coach Venables, their defense, there was nothing wrong with their defense last year. They played great defense, allowed just 318 yards per game, held opponents to 95 yards per game below their season average, despite that rugged schedule. It was number 4 in the country in that category. The problem with Oklahoma last year, they had 0 returning starters on the offensive line. At one point, they were down their top 5 wide receivers. Well, now the receiving core gets those injured guys back. As added players through the portal, they have a receiving core. They got Jaden Ott added in at running back along with Javonte Barnes. You talked about Matera, quarterback, running the same offense he ran at Washington State, and now a veteran offensive line. They're going to have a much improved offense. I really thought going through the roster with Coach Venables that this is a playoff caliber Oklahoma team. So to me, this is a key game for both teams. I've got the game at Pick'em coming in. Tennessee, I have questions. Offensive line's a little inexperienced. Defensive line lost a lot. Receiving corps lost their top 3 guys. They lose a 1,000-yard rusher. I think that's going to be a key game for both team seasons.
It's going to be a crazy, interesting game. And to your point, I remember last year watching that Oklahoma bunch. We were playing music on a Friday night down at Calhoun's on the river, and it was beautiful down there. And I remember looking up and watching them struggle with Temple. And I'm watching the screen, as I'm sitting there playing guitar, and I'm looking up going, there's no way in the world that team's going to stay on the field with anybody in this league. They couldn't even block Temple that night, Phil. And Oklahoma looks to be, look, that's too proud of a program. They invested in their deal, and they got a coach fighting for his life. Let's move along. So a pick'em, a straight pick'em, Oklahoma in Knoxville, Phil Steele says. New Mexico State on November the 15th. That's our Amachi tailgate game, our Keith Hatfield Annual Memorial Amachi tailgate game. New Mexico State, what's your number in that one?
35.
All right, let's move along. This has been a sore spot for us down through the years. Tennessee, for whatever reason, they haven't won in 20-plus years in Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, while the likes of Southern Miss and Vanderbilt and other people have gone in there and won games. Tennessee makes it look impossible playing there, including under this coach. What is the number November 22nd when the Vols visit Florida?
Now, so far, the first 2 numbers I gave you that Vegas has a number out, Georgia and Alabama. I was siding with Tennessee in those games.
Okay.
This one, I'm actually siding a little bit with Florida. I think they played extremely well in the Swamp. They've got more coming back than Tennessee does this year. And the Vegas line on this right now is Tennessee +3. But I actually have Florida a 6-point favorite in this game. I think the Gators may just be a slightly better team and are at home, especially if DJ Lagway is 100% healthy.
Yeah, my concern about, and look, when you start projecting ahead with these lines, and any of these futures, right, it all depends on how healthy you are. I guess the other thing about Florida, Phil, would be how much does that rugged schedule beat up their entire football team? Because they truly have a brutal schedule. That's an awful schedule they have to go through.
Yeah, once again. And I remember talking to Coach Napier last year. We were going over the schedule. I'm like, Coach, you're playing the toughest schedule in the country. He goes, Phil, at the end of the year, you're not going to think it was quite as tough. And what he meant by that was he felt that they would beat some teams like LSU and Mississippi and Florida State, and that you'd look at the schedule at the end of the year and you wouldn't rank them number 1. And I did not rank them as the toughest schedule at the end of the year. I did at the beginning of the year. And this year, to play at LSU, at Miami of Florida, Texas, and at Texas A&M in a 4-game stretch, even though they do have a bye in there, then later play Georgia and at Ole Miss and Tennessee. That is a brutal schedule. And keep in mind, their season final against Florida State. Florida State's going to be more towards 2 years ago's team than they were last year's squad.
Phil Steele, another team as we go through Tennessee and the numbers, and Phil does this for us every year, Vanderbilt, on November 29, another team with whom the rigors of the league really will take its toll. The Pavia kid that Tennessee saw last year in Nashville and the Pavia kid that Alabama saw were 2 different quarterbacks. He was all beaten up. It's part of the deal. What is your number in that game?
Yeah, I have Tennessee a 14-point favorite, and it could go either way for exactly what you just mentioned, Tony. If Pavia is 100% healthy, I'd probably make it a little bit tighter because he can pull some upsets. But if it's the same quarterback that was there, banged-up quarterback at the end of the year, or let's say he gets injured in that one, then I'd make it more than that. But I thought 14 was a safe number for this far away from the game.
Hey, Phil, before I let them, let you tell them where they can find you and all that good stuff, I really appreciate your time. Playoff teams out of the league are?
I'd have to say definitely Georgia, definitely Texas. I think Texas will be the pick to win the SEC this year by the media. Definitely Alabama. And then I would say it comes down to Oklahoma or LSU would be the next best choices, with teams like Texas A&M, Ole Miss, and Tennessee right behind them.
Phil Steele, you are absolutely incredible. By the way, on the way out, have you seen a line? I don't know if you said. You gave us a line for the Oklahoma game. Have you seen a line for the Oklahoma game in Vegas anywhere, like on any of your sources?
I have not. And I'm still waiting for Westgate to supply me their lines, but they're not going to do that for another week or two. They usually have the lines on games that aren't there. But, no, I have not seen one yet. I would anticipate Tennessee would be about a 3-point favorite.
What are the handles like at this time of the year when those lines flash up? Do the handles pop, or do people generally wait in that market when you see these signature lines that pop up?
I believe there's limited action on the marquee games.
Okay.
I don't think they're taking full wagers on them.
Okay. Phil, tell folks how they can find you, and it's always, you gave us like 50 minutes. What can I say?
I appreciate that, Tony. And, the best places to get the magazine right now, head out to your local Barnes & Noble or Books A Million. We're exclusively with Barnes & Noble and Books A Million. Those are the only two places you can get it, so don't go to Kroger's or the grocery stores to try to get it. Barnes & Noble, Books A Million are the two places to get the magazine. Or you can go online to philsteele.com right now. When you go to philsteele.com, it costs to ship things, Tony, so we're going to charge you a shipping charge. But we also give you the digital magazine absolutely free. And with the digital magazine, we actually update that thing all the way through September. So if a player gets injured out for the year during August, we'll have them circled. If something changes with a head coach, remember last year, the head coach of Utah State got fired over the summer, we have all that updated in the digital magazine. So Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, or philsteele.com to get your magazine for this year. But it's 360 pages, biggest ever, Tony, and it's heavy as usual. It's a lot of information. How long do you think it takes you to read one of those in the course of a year?
You think I've ever read through your whole magazine? Are you kidding me? No, I might, to depress myself, I'll look at like I grew up a Temple football fan, so I might look and see what's left of their carcass on the side of the road. The thing I love, though, and I was talking about this, when you endeavor to do what you do, which is to have a capsule on every team, like you were saying before, and I'm not here to carry water for you, but things have to fall through the cracks, man. We're all human. And I would imagine, knowing you, it drives you absolutely nuts when you see a typo in your magazine or just anything, just any little error, but you've got a million. How many facts do you think are in that book, Phil? How many facts? What do you think the number is?
There are over 1 million words and numbers in the magazine each year. And,
over 1 million.
If you have 0.1%, you're talking like 10,000 typos. You can't have that. So it's got to be some. And yes, you are absolutely correct. Whenever there is, and there are a few bigger typos in this year's magazine, which really, really bothered me when we sent that thing off to the press. And but it's a labor of love. It's something that takes 7 months to produce, Tony.
Phil Steele, you're the man. Thank you, brother. Great talking with you.
Hey, always enjoy it. And Tony, once again, thank you for 31 years. Cool. Let's hope we do it another 31, huh?
Hey, man, praise God for longevity, and I love being here. Thank you, man. Good talking to you.
All right.
The great Phil Steele, one more time on your TLD Logistics phone line, online at tldlogistics.com. Hey, Matt, when you hear him, and you asked a great question about the ever-moving target when you're trying to assess what's what, do you buy the explanation? Are we mad at him? Are we ready to throw in the towel on him? What do we make of our Phil Steele appearance today?
No, he was good. He was kind of apologizing because I think he realized as we were talking that it's kind of impossible for Tennessee to be 44 with how he kind of projects their season. I think he said, 9-3, 8-4 if you lose 2 games, that you're kind of those toss-up deals. But it's a fair explanation because that just didn't make sense compared to where he had. He had him top 10 with Nico, which I think was probably a little too high. and now he's got him a little too low. So
basically what he said is we got down to the end of the magazine, and that 1 to 129 ranking that we do, or however how many Division I teams there are, we just threw that page together. That's essentially what he said. And some people would say, well, that's, not acceptable, but he gonna tell you, look, we got in a crunch. And, I've done some things back in the day, like preseason magazines or whatever, or written word. Those of you that have been on the whole deadline thing know that sometimes things just, especially when it falls on you, like I know it falls on him. He's kind of a guy who started doing his own thing. I'm sort of like that, hand in the air, control freak kind of deal when it comes to wanting to do my own thing. It's it can get difficult if you get overwhelmed, and it sounds like at the end there he got sort of overwhelmed because Matt, the one thing you pointed out, because Matt's an astute reader between the lines. If you listen to Matt on our Garza Law series, whether it's the basketball, the football, the baseball, Matt is very astute and is going to read between the lines on things. And the one thing you said earlier is, how do you have Tennessee 20? What was the thing you said earlier, Matt, about the top 20? What was the way Phil put it? And yet he had a ranking of 44 by him. That's incongruent, which basically Phil Steele admitted, yeah, that is pretty incongruent. That was kind of a mistake on my part. What was the thing?
Yeah,
what was
it's
the thing?
fine. I mean,
yeah,
no big deal. No, I almost felt bad for him because he was kind of apologizing on air.
Yeah. Which I guess, he feels comfortable enough. It's one of the things people tell me. It's like one of my gifts is interviewing people. I get people to say things they ought not say on the air. He probably shouldn't be saying that, but it's one of those deals where, like I put on the video for the descriptor over on our Twitter video deal. I put Phil Steele's got some splaining to do, and he explained. So John Adams is going to join us on the other side. He won't be with us on Thursday, presented by Jennifer Morris, Next Move, SmokyMountains.com. She of Keller Williams fame. John's going to join us on the other side. I want to go through these lines, and I want you guys to tell me what we buy, what we sell, what we trade of the lines that Phil Steele gave, and we'll go through them. Brian Hartman has them, and we'll do that on the other side. And if you want to jump in, you have a thought on our Phil Steele conversation, I've got to say that it was time well spent. I've got to say that I hate to say this, Matt, but I think Alabama's going to have a good year. I think if I had one team in the league I could buy right now, I think it would be Alabama. I think they're going to be very good. And I think that was a really solid win Tennessee got against them last year, and Vanderbilt got against them last year, which kept them out of the playoff. But I have a feeling that they're going to be a lot better this year, and right now they're my buy team. Would you buy, sell, or trade, Matt, that take right now in Alabama?
Yeah. I think they're comfortably in the playoffs this year, unfortunately.
Yep. Unfortunately.
The boy's a really, really good coach, and now he's probably got a team that fits what he wants to do a little bit more than last year. Even though he might not be as talented at quarterback, I think Simpson fits the offense that he wants to run a lot better.
Yeah, and I think that's going to kind of surprise people, because I do think Ty Simpson's going to be a better fit for what he wants to do. If you look at his offenses down through the years, and he almost inherited Milroe last year. He had to play him. He was kind of, I don't want to say stuck with him, because Milroe's a talented player at this level, but they almost had to modify what they were trying to do. And I'm buying Alabama. So, I mean, I hate to say that, but we continue with more on the other side. It is your Tuesday edition. Matt's here. Brian's here. John Adams will be here on the other side. And if you want to jump in, 865-200-5402 on the TLD Logistics phone lines. It's hard to believe, man. Garza Law, fifth quarter fan reaction, that's right around the corner. That's a few weeks away. That Syracuse game is a few weeks away. It's crazy. So we continue with more after this.
WJBE 1040 AM 99.7 FM. Translator W259AB. Powell, Knoxville.
Hey, Tony B listeners, I'm Billy from Grade A Grounds, a UT grad bringing Knoxville a better way to raise money. We roast premium coffee fully branded for your team or cause. You keep 40% of sales and we donate 5% to local needs. Let's win on and off the field. Visit gradeagrounds.com to start your winning fundraiser today.
Living Vol fan, we're on the countdown to kickoff, and that means you need to make sure you are game ready. Head to Alumni Hall to get this season's Tennessee sideline apparel. Nike, Columbia, Peter Millar, and more. Shop top brands for the entire family. Hats, Yeti, tailgating gear, and so much more. If it's for the Tennessee fan, Alumni Hall has it. Spend $150 and get $10 in Hall cash rewards. Shop at alumnihall.com. Download their app or shop any of their locations in Knoxville, Murfreesboro, or the Tri-Cities. Alumni Hall, the ultimate shopping destination for Vol fans.
It's the hottest post-game show on the planet. Garza Law. Fifth quarter fan reaction. Fan reaction. As soon as the final gun sounds, we're live.
Tony Basilio, and we are live once again with Chad Stockton of FC Alliance. And Chad, you're out there on the field, 100 strong here in Knoxville. Talk to me. What's been going on with FC Alliance now that the weather's heating up?
We're out here for the first night of the boys' tryouts. We have over 400 kids that'll be here tonight. So a lot of exciting times right now for us. Our club team start at U9 and we go all the way through U19. We have over 1,000 kids that come from Chattanooga from the Tri-Cities that make all our teams and make this club what it is today. So we're excited about it. We finished the younger kids a couple of weeks ago. We just finished the girls last night, and now we're on to our older boys program as we speak right now.
And we're blowing and going in the Tri-Cities. Tell me about it.
We started FC Alliance North 1 year ago, and coming off the first year, we are the largest, most competitive club up in the Tri-Cities area. We just finished our tryouts last night. Looks like right now we will be well over 400 kids for the upcoming season. So great things happening up there. We've put our boys into some really good regional leagues. So we're excited about what the future holds for them and also our girls programs.
If you want more information, check them out at fcallianceknox.org. That's fcallianceknox.org. Chad Stockton, keep growing the beautiful game here in East Tennessee.
Absolutely. Thanks, Tony.
Hi, I'm Jim Simpson, owner of Simpson Meats. When's the last time you grilled a really good burger or steak? One your friends still talk about. Our goal at Simpson Meats is to make that happen every time you have a cookout. All of our cuts of meats, steaks, burgers, briskets, and pork are always fresh, flavorful, and sustainably sourced. We are family owned, so we know the importance of knowing how and where your food is raised. We have been putting quality first since 1888. Visit our butcher shop off Lovell Road or online at simpsonmeats.com.
Tony Basilio along with the great Mark Griffin. And we're here to talk about our friends at Performance Medicine. And Griff, their slogan, stay educated, stay healthy. That's you.
Wow. I really like to think that, Tony, and I'd like to give Dr. Rogers a lot of credit because I definitely want to stay educated and healthy, and knowing that he's putting the time and effort in to make sure of my care, I want to encourage your listeners to put the time to learn and become educated and get to know Dr. Rogers and see if it can help with your health as well.
And there's a really, really easy way to do that. In fact, they've got their own YouTube channel. You can see Dr. Rogers for himself with his staff. It's called The Performance Medicine Show over at the Performance Medicine channel over on YouTube. Also, more information at performancemedicine.net. To our friends in North Knoxville, a brand new location over in Fountain City, now accepting patients. So many ways to reach Dr. Rogers. And like they say, stay educated, stay healthy. Performance Medicine, online, performancemedicine.net. TB here for Cedar Bluff Plumbing, a live and local company that's been serving our area for over 32 years and counting, because every customer counts, and I mean no job is too small. Cedar Bluff Plumbing just voted #1 by City View magazine because multiple plumbing experts are on call to serve all your plumbing needs. Chances are there'll be a plumber in your area when you call, and they won't send some salesman to your house. You're going to get a high character, trustworthy, highly trained plumber who will serve you. Not like some of the these guys that look like they came off the set of America's Most Wanted. Cedar Bluff Plumbing is Basilio tested and approved and will go the extra mile for you because Chucky Mack is a servant of the people and my consigliere to the throne, celebrating over 32 years of serving living volunteers. Cedar Bluff Plumbing. Call 588-4448. That's 588-4448. Cedar Bluff Plumbing.
Attention Vol fans, are you tired of complicated, clunky fleet technology that makes your job harder? Say goodbye to frustration and hello to Connexial, your hometown partner in logistics. It's time to rev up your operations with next level fleet management from Connexial. Connexial is here to keep your business on track with technology that works as hard as you do. Our game-changing ELD gives you more than just hours of service. With AI-powered dash cameras and real-time asset tracking, you'll have eyes on the road, cargo, and your fleet from anywhere, anytime. And the best part, our friendly US-based customer support team is just one phone call away. No more long wait times or frustrating tech talk. Just real people with real solutions. With Connexial, you get a professional team you can trust and easy-to-use products that keep you on the road. What do you say, Tony?
I'm ready. Make the smart move and call Connexial today.
865-888-6920. Learn more at Connexial.com. That's Konexial.com. Drive life with Connexial and go Vols.
Basilio here, and my friends at Carnes Motor Company started with a dream over a quarter century ago. I met Rob and Brian back when I still had hair. And they were working at a huge dealership in West Knoxville. But they told me back then they wanted to sell cars on their terms. And I wanted to do radio on my terms. Their terms, just like my terms, are ultimately your terms. In both cases, you're the winner. A Car Guru's National Award winner with a 5-star rating on all sites, just like our Vols. Everything about buying a car from Carnes Motor Company is no hassle. They specialize in high-quality pre-owned vehicles between the $5,000 to $25,000 range. And if you need to sell a car, they'll either buy your car or they'll help you sell it. Carnes Motor Company also has a top-notch service department. Therefore, every vehicle is rigorously inspected and serviced prior to delivery. So you're guaranteed to get a quality pre-owned vehicle every time. If you need a place for service, they've got you covered. Come be a part of the Carnes Motor Company family and tell them you heard about it from me. Online at carnesmotor.com, Oak Ridge Highway, 1 mile past the Carnes light. Carnes Motor Company.
Yeehaw! Some people say betting online is still the wild, wild west. But with the VIP Play app, you're riding with the best. VIP Play app is hotter than a $2 pistol packed with flair. Live hosts and features finer than a frog hair. Send your old betting problems out of town with a slap. You'll be betting sharp as a tack on the VIP Play app.
Don't be a better, be a better with VIP Play today.
Download VIP Play today or head to VIPPlayApp.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-88-99789. Must be 21 plus and located in Tennessee to bet.
Jeff Hall here. I'm a partner at Rather & Kittrell Capital Management. Life is full of transitions. Planning for retirement, managing investments, or navigating major life changes. Here at Rather & Kittrell, we're here to guide you through every step. Visit rkcapital.com or call 865-218-8400 to start your journey toward financial clarity today. Rather & Kittrell is a registered investment advisor.
DJ, please pick up the phone on the request line as we welcome you back. It's hour number 2. John Adams presented by Jennifer Morris, Next Move, SmokyMountains.com. She of Keller Williams fame. We're going to go to our TLD Logistics phone lines here momentarily. My name's Tony. John Adams, hope you're well.
Yes, I'm very well. Thanks for caring, Tony.
In our preceding segment, we had Phil Steele on. One of the things that Phil Steele does for us annually is gives us the lines for every Tennessee game. And John was in a hermetically sealed booth like they used to do in the old game show days. He had the headphones on. He does not know any of these numbers. And so we're going to quiz John here real quick. Matt, out of the 12, how many of these will John come within 6 points of? Out of the 12 games, Matt. How many will he come within 6 points or better?
I'm going to say 9 of them.
Shit. He doesn't have a chance of doing that. But let's do it. Here we go. John, let's start with the Syracuse game, first game of the year. We'll take them as they lay on the schedule, and then we'll go to the phones. Tennessee, Syracuse, what's the line, John? The Vols are minus what in that game, according to Phil Steele?
Okay, this is Phil Steele's line. This is not the Vegas line.
Well, they follow. They basically follow the Vegas line. They're going to a couple of them are within a couple points of the Vegas line, 1.5, right, Matt? I mean, for the most part, they lay right on top of each other.
Okay, I'll say 12 points.
You nailed that one. Tennessee's minus 14. Brian, let's keep track here, because I might be gifting John a couple of prizes here.
Yeah.
All right, ETSU, John. He gave us a line on it.
Well, that's an FCS school,
yep.
So I mean, I would say 43.
That's 2 for 2. The line was 40. Georgia in Neyland Stadium, John. That silence you're hearing, ladies and gentlemen, is the fire and the coal burning up in John's gray matter. John?
I'm going to say Georgia by 9.
It's minus 6. Let's move along. Alabama, Birmingham. D Blazers. Ladies and gentlemen, that pause is John reflecting upon what could be, as it's the Tuesday edition.
You don't like dead air, do you?
I love dead air. No, I love dead air. Dead air.
Yeah, okay.
It's very powerful. I tell young broadcasters.
I'll give you some more.
Well, I tell young broadcasters all the time, don't be afraid of it.
Well, I'm not afraid of it.
And don't be afraid to let it show.
I'm going to say 31.
So that's 38. So that's a miss. Brian, keep track of this. At Mississippi Mistake.
I'm going to say this is a tough one.
Yep.
This is a tough one.
Yep.
I'm going to
shout out Bubba One. At Mississippi Mistake.
I'm going to say 19.
10. Minus 10.
Okay, so that tells me that's a good bet.
So we're in a 2-game losing streak. Arkansas.
No, I don't look at it that way.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Versus Arkansas here.
I'll say 7 points.
Bang. Minus 10's the number. At Alabama.
Alabama in Tuscaloosa, that would be 13, Alabama.
Minus 10. Very good, John. At Kentucky.
At Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say 13.
You hit it. Minus 7. That's a push. Versus Oklahoma in Knoxville. Which, by the way, I think is the signature doorway game, position statement. I think that is the signature game in terms of determining what kind of season Tennessee has. Winning, losing, or drawing in that game. I think that is the hinge game on the schedule in terms of how the season will be viewed. it's a 10,000-foot simpleton view, but that's where I'm at right now, and I am a simpleton, and we're at 10,000 feet. John,
Okay.
what do you think Phil Steele told me?
I'm thinking Phil Steele picked Oklahoma by a point.
He made it a pick. Very good. You were heading in that direction. Our Amachi Knoxville tailgate for the kids game, New Mexico State, John.
New Mexico State at home. It's a homecoming game, and Tennessee will be wearing its military attire for that game.
Those things are hideous.
I don't think so. And maybe it's because I'm a vet that I respect that, and I look beyond the actual colors.
Jeez Louise.
And see the significance of it.
Oh, God.
Don't judge a book by its cover, Tony. Look inward. Gosh, it's hard to say how bad that team will be, but I'll go with Tennessee by 34.
45. Florida, down there. So John's missed a couple. We have 2 left. Florida down there.
Florida, I'll go with Florida will be favored. I'll go with 5 points.
6. You're very good, John. Matt, way to express confidence in him. He's hit the money. And trust me, John did not hear that last segment. John's never heard the show in his life. Versus Vanderbilt, final game of the season in Knoxville.
I'll say 13.
14.
Okay.
All right. So, and then we'll go to the phones. Most surprising line that Phil Steele had there, John, from your perspective? Pick versus Oklahoma?
What did we say the Mississippi State line was?
Mississippi State is 10. Vols minus 10 at Mississippi State.
I would have thought he would have favored Tennessee by more in that game.
Matt, most surprising line to you? And then we'll go to the phones.
Probably 2 touchdown favorite over Syracuse.
Yep.
Just because that's the first game. You really need. I guess both teams fall under that category of you just don't know what you're going to get from the quarterbacks. And I haven't done a deep dive in the Syracuse and what all they returned, but that just feels a little high to me. And a little surprised that Oklahoma is a toss-up. I thought maybe Tennessee would. Home field will give Tennessee a point or two their advantage, but it's kind of a toss-up. I guess he just projects Oklahoma to be a little bit better than expected.
I thought. Yeah, go ahead, Brian.
I thought Kentucky would be higher than 7. I don't think they're very good. I don't think they're going to be very good at all. I think they're going to suck potentially.
And that's again, yeah. See, that's probably more surprising to me than Mississippi State. I think Kentucky has the potential to be worse than Mississippi State. When you're bringing in Zach Calzada as your savior at quarterback, I think you got problems. I don't know about Kentucky in either line, so I think you nailed that one, Brian. I think that is. What was his line on it again?
That would be
-7, just a
7.
touchdown.
Yep.
But it is up there, and I think he likes Kentucky at home as an underdog sometimes. So
I never give Kentucky any respect against Tennessee. I just always see that. That to me is like always the surest conference game on the schedule, even more than Vanderbilt.
But the games are always interesting, John. They're usually close and they're usually weird up there. Now Kentucky doesn't win. But if you go from that backdrop.
Here's the thing, Tony. I think Kentucky, we've seen the very best of Mark Stoops, and it's behind us. I think we saw last year where Kentucky's headed. it's it's not faring well in NIL, and why should it? Kentucky basketball is going to be killing it in the NIL. And if you're going to invest money in Kentucky sports, why do it in football? Why invest money and hope you make it to the Music City Bowl? Invest it in basketball and try to win a national title. And Mark Stoops is also a great promoter. And that he's really engaged with people, and that contrasts with Mark Stoops now. So I think by the time Tennessee plays Kentucky, when is that game? They've moved it around. See, I'm always thinking
after the Bama game. It's the week after, I think, which is late October.
Game 8 or Game 9 on the schedule. Game 9 of 12.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Game 8 of 12.
Kentucky
Game 8 of 12.
Could have a really bad record at that point. And again, I put so much stock in quarterbacks, but Zach Calzada, ironically, he beat Alabama one year at A&M, and I still hadn't figured that one out.
That seems like 100 years ago.
It really does. He was a young man when that took place.
I mean, wasn't that the year that DiMaggio flirted with 400? Let's go back to the phones, or hit 400. Let's go back to the phones. 865-200-5402. And we'll get as many people in here as humanly possible on your TLD Logistics phone line. What is, with what Phil Steele mentioned, what's the most surprising line to you? And what's the one number when you look at it that you would play? We'll go through them one more time. Tennessee minus 14 versus Syracuse. I'm with Matt on that. Who knows? I mean, I asked Phil, I said, well, is there any coin flip aspect? He said, no, Syracuse doesn't have any offensive playmakers left. Moving along. Tennessee minus 40 with ETSU. Georgia minus 6 here, which, for context purposes, Alabama with Georgia this year is 4. Texas with Georgia this year is 3. So Tennessee
Texas is 3 over Georgia?
Yeah, so Tennessee is no, he's got Georgia winning the league, but he did say 3, and I don't know whether he had, Matt, which way did he have that? One a favorite. I think he has Georgia a 3 favorite over Texas. Is that right, Matt? I asked him.
minus 4 over Bama and minus 6 at Tennessee.
Yeah, I think he's got Georgia favored in every game.
Yeah, that's right. He
but
had Georgia
Texas and
Bama
are at home in Athens.
So the point is that is actually pretty damn respectable. That number with the Vols, when you lay them side by side. He also went on to say, John, which is interesting, that before the season, he projected Tennessee to be a top 10 team he does a thing where he projects what the AP poll is going to be at the end of the year, and he had Tennessee in the 10 slot. And he said that Nico leaving them dropped them from that lofty position down to where he had them 44 in his preseason deal now. But he also said his 44 ranking is kind of silly because he just had to throw it together because he was up against a deadline and really didn't take the time on that he should have. He admitted that to us, John, on the air.
Well, here's the thing. Why are we supposed to put so much stock in Phil Steele's preseason predictions as opposed to Lindy's or Athlon?
Because he's damn good at it. He's the guy that's better at it than all the rest of those people. Hello and welcome in to our next call. You're on the air as we go through some of these numbers.
What's that, Tony?
Hey, Philly, welcome in, buddy.
How are you and the boys doing?
Philly, we're doing great, man. Great to hear your voice on this brutally hot Tuesday.
Yeah, it's on the real hot side right now and getting ready for football season. But I think Syracuse is going to end up being the game of the year for us because if you lose that game, your season's totally in the tank already.
You lose that game, Matt, you could be heading for 6-6, couldn't you, Matt?
Yeah, that would certainly bring that onto the table. Yeah, 6-6, 7-5 type. It probably, if you lose that game, you're more than likely going to be changing quarterbacks, probably coming out of the Georgia game as well.
Yep.
Yeah, we're
I
going to see how
just
good
think
Joey football
Syracuse,
is.
though, I don't think Syracuse is going to be good at all. I think it is going to drop off, plummet from that 10-win season of a year ago.
Yeah, they apparently they have zero playmakers.
Well, that's good news for us. That's true.
No doubt, Philly.
It's interesting
And
that Phil Steele said
stadium will be pro Tennessee by an outlandish margin.
Yes, although I hear they're having trouble selling tickets down there compared to what they thought they were going to move.
The November schedule is probably Tennessee season will be won or lost. You got like you said, Oklahoma at home, and then you got Florida down there. Winnable games, but also losable games.
Philly, the whole schedules features those. I think it's interesting that he had Oklahoma a pick here. To me, Phil, that is literally the key game of the year. You win that game, you could have a respectable to good season. You lose the Oklahoma game, it's going to knock this thing back a rung. And I don't know how fair that is, because Oklahoma's got a full-throated transfer quarterback with an offensive coordinator coming in and an offensive overhaul. Oklahoma might just do what Vanderbilt did last year. That might be the new thing in this transfer portal era. Not only am I going to bring the quarterback in, but I'm going to bring his offensive coordinator with him. That'd be the second straight year that's happened in this league, which I don't ever remember that happening, guys. Maybe it's happened. I don't ever remember that happening, but now we've done it 2 years in a row here.
Well, it's a good indicator of how quarterbacks are viewed now. Quarterbacks are viewed as so important. So you're trying to do everything to enhance the quarterback's production. So, okay, you bring it makes sense if the quarterback is that good to bring in the guy where he'll be comfortable. His transition is now minimized because he's coming with the same offense and the same supervisor, really.
Yep.
Tony, who does Oklahoma play before they play us, and who does Florida play before we play us? I think that might have something to do with the game also.
Matt and Brian, do you guys have that? Matt's going to have that before I'm going to have that.
I'll have it in just a second here.
All right. Hey, Philly,
I think Oklahoma's coming off like a pretty tough stretch that includes Texas and maybe Ole Miss and maybe another game somewhere.
Excuse me, Matt. It's an extremely tough stretch. October 11th, Texas in Dallas. October 18th at South Carolina. October 25th, Ole Miss at home. 3 straight games without an open date. All of those teams will be in some preseason top 25s.
Who was the third one, John? Did you say Ole Miss? What was the third one there? Ole Miss at home?
Yeah, Ole Miss before Tennessee. Yeah. Here's another thing to think about where I think the schedule this is such a good schedule for Tennessee. And it's not just whom they're playing, it's when they're playing them. You take a quarterback like John Mateer at Oklahoma. This guy, he's a yardage machine. He's not just a good passer. He runs all the time. He rushed for over 800 yards last year. So you can imagine the workload he's going to carry. And you just wonder by that time of the year and after that stretch of games how healthy he would be. So I think that really plays Tennessee's strength. And I look at Florida the same way. Here's Florida going into the Tennessee game. November 1st, Georgia in Jacksonville. November 8th at Kentucky. And for some reason, Florida often struggles against Kentucky. November 15th at Ole Miss, and then Tennessee. It will have played 3 straight games away from the swamp before it gets to Tennessee. And remember, DJ Lagway, their star quarterback, has had recurring shoulder problems. So how healthy will he be by the time he gets to Tennessee?
Well, that's interesting, isn't it?
That's a great question you brought up, Phil. It's illustrative of the opportunity Tennessee has afforded to them by this schedule. I mean, because that is digging into the fine print here. And the thing about these schedules is it matters who you play, but it also matters who they play before you play them.
Yeah.
So.
The cumulative effect. I agree.
Yep. Hey, Phil, on the
John,
way out.
You and Tony know Marvin West, don't you?
Sure.
Well, he just had an article put out talking about Dr. Danny's handling of the UT track program. He gave Dr. Danny credit for all the other sports, but Dr. Danny's hire in the track is not going very well right now.
No, it's been a miserable failure. The fella he hired has been a colossal disaster behind the scenes. Hey, by the way, Phil, what did you make of that kid reclassifying from Greenville and fleeing Tennessee for the Big Ten?
Well, they've got. I mean, if he came here this year and reclassified, he'd be sitting on the bench.
But he would never play.
It's a good move. I don't know. I mean,
yeah,
the kid's a good player.
No, he's a nice player. I think that caught them by surprise.
Well, you still may get him back. You know what this transfer portal is.
Ain't that the truth?
Smith went to Iowa, and then he came back.
Ain't that the truth, Phil?
But is this guy from Gar from Israel going to make it in, Tony?
I'm going to make a call this afternoon. He was here last week. They like him. They think they've got something there. It's very interesting, Philly, an Israeli national.
It'd be kind of cool when we play Auburn, you know it. See.
865-200-5402. Tennessee knows they're a player short in what they're doing hoops-wise. We'll go back to our phones. We're talking about Phil Steele's appearance. Some of these numbers. John and Phil brings up a great point. Oklahoma's schedule at South Carolina, Ole Miss and Norman, Texas and Dallas, then at South Carolina, then Ole Miss and Norman. And then Florida's schedule is Georgia, at Kentucky, at Ole Miss. Matt, what kind of player is Ole Miss this year in this thing? What's your sense of them? Because last year we were hearing about a playoff conversation with Lane.
Yeah, last year was kind of their peak year and their year to do something. It feels like they lose a lot, not just in Jackson Dart, but a lot on defense up front. I would expect them to be in that 7-9 win range. I mean, they had that really, really impressive win over Georgia and then turned right around and lost at Florida. And obviously they had the home loss to Kentucky earlier in the year. I'd say they're in that 7-9, probably about where Tennessee's at.
Back to our phones we go. Hello and welcome in. You are on the air on our TLD Logistics phone line on our Tuesday.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, welcome in.
I wanted to confirm, and thanks, brother. I want to confirm with you that Calzada win over Alabama was, in fact, on game 23 of DiMaggio's hit streak.
Thank you very little. I mean, how long ago does that seem, dude?
Right. I remember loving the game and having a blast watching it, but it does seem like it was R.C. Slocum was coaching A&M at the time.
It's really incredible how the changes we've seen, guys, in this sport, things that happened 4 years ago seem like forever. And that is absolutely accurate.
Yep. So I thought Phil Steele was fantastic, man. Great you guys having him on again, as always. But the dropping us because Nico left from 10 to 20 in his ratings seems about right. That makes a little sense. And I just want to clarify, because I think the way Phil was explaining it, and I don't know if I'm right, but I think you guys probably understand it better. You guys were with him. The 44 ranking thing, that's based on win totals at the end of the year where he thinks teams will finish. And the 9 teams in the SEC, or in the ACC he has ahead of Tennessee, he says his computer, which spits out that rankings, has Tennessee ended up winning 8 games, and 9 of those ACC teams will end up with more wins than 8, which is how it breaks that down at the end of the year. That's the whole ranking for that. Is that correct? I know he said it's something about 8.5, Tennessee winning 8, and those teams are projected to win 8.5, 9 are the ones that are in front of him by the model.
Hey, Matt, is that what you got from him? Is that what you got, Matt?
Yeah, the 44 ranking is where he is the end of year deal, but he did say that was kind of flawed, and he didn't really, after kind of looking at it and us pointing it out, he probably would put Tennessee a little bit higher. But yes, that was where that they'd finish based on the wins of the schedule, whereas the 28 ranking is kind of where he puts them, like in a preseason poll.
So Nico was worth about 10 spots in what he thinks the AP poll would be. We all know what all the throws we missed last year that could have won the Arkansas game, possibly won the Georgia game down there if we'd have hit a couple throws that were open. And those 2 ball games, just one of those games is the difference between going to Ohio State for the first game or being in Knoxville probably as the 6th seed or the 5 seed.
Yep, hosting SMU. Yes.
If you went with.
Yep.
Yeah. You would have went to Atlanta and played Texas, or you would have went to Atlanta and played Georgia if you would have just won one of those games. And it's all about some missed throws. So, hey, maybe 10 spots is right. Maybe it's not. It's all going to be dependent on that quarterback. I was thinking about this, and I just wanted to get your guys' opinion, everybody. Us going to 9 games in the SEC and all of us wanting to. I agree it's chicken scratch to not, but I kind of get it. I mean, if you're going to put an 11-1 Indiana team in with their schedule, and you're going to not let Ole Miss, South Carolina, and Bama in because they go 9-3 with much harder schedules, it basically tells you just get to 11 wins or 10 wins, and it doesn't matter who you play, is what the committee's telling. Do we agree?
John, what do you think?
So playing more SEC.
No, I think they factored in strength of schedule, but not to the degree that they needed to. I mean, they factored it in.
Yeah.
When you look at Ole Miss was a hard team to evaluate because it pushed Georgia all over the field. That was a huge win, and it lost to Kentucky. So those are extremes. I think there was so much blowback from that season, though. And remember, this is just getting started where you're evaluating where you're, getting a 12-team playoff field. I think strength of schedule would be evaluated and more emphasis will be placed on that in the future.
But John, you say that. However, the reporting is that over at the Grove Park Inn, they showed them their new model that they're going to use when they go to 16. And under that model that they're going to use, the SEC looked at it and said, oh, we can stay at 8 because we're going to be able to, not quote unquote, but in a way, manipulate this deal to end up with as many, to Rusty's point, 10-win teams as we possibly can, and then pick off those remaining playoff spots that are there, because that's really where the money is at the end of the year. That's how these leagues are going to make their money, is by playoff appearances. And that was the message the SEC got coming out of there is, oh, we could stay at 8. We can have our cake and eat it too.
I just
think
that's so wrong to stay at 8 games.
Go ahead, Rusty.
No, it is. John,
it is wrong.
John, I agree.
Yep.
It is. It's wrong. But you let 11-2 SMU in, and you keep those 3 SEC teams out because they're 9-3. It sends a bad message.
Yep, especially when that SMU team's just not even competitive.
But I really think they will adjust. I think they will recalibrate on that. I think they will put more stock in strength of schedule. However, when you look at those SEC teams that you're talking about, Ole Miss to me is a great example. yes, it had big wins, but it had a horrible loss to Kentucky. That was an awful Kentucky team. And so all it had to do was beat Kentucky, and it's in the playoff. I mean, how much do you have to ask of a team to make the playoff? That's not asking a whole lot. Just beat Kentucky or win on the road at Florida. I mean, yeah, Florida was better at the end of the year, but it was still an 8-win team, and Ole Miss had everything on the line, and it loses the game. So when you take those teams one by one and you look at them, my gosh, they had every opportunity to make the playoff. Alabama gets just hammered by Oklahoma, a mediocre Oklahoma team, 24-3. Good gosh. You had all these opportunities. How many chances do you need?
But, John, at the end of the day, that Indiana bunch got in because they didn't play anybody, and SMU got in because they didn't play anybody, and Tennessee, to some extent, got in because at the end of the day, we had an easy schedule, and that's what they're looking at.
Well, I just think that's going to change somewhat,
but
that's just my take. I still think it will. I just think you have to evaluate strength of schedule. But my point is, it's the SEC is working so hard to get as many teams in as they can in the playoff. That's understandable. But goodness, as I said, you had so many opportunities. Do they really do? I feel worse about South Carolina not making the playoff than I do Alabama or Ole Miss.
Rusty, your point's well taken. Rusty, these people at the SEC could give two damns about what makes a sport better. They could care less about the sport, Rusty.
No, for sure. And John's right. South Carolina probably has the best argument.
Yep.
They didn't have any bad losses.
Yep.
They lost on a kind of a fluke at Alabama. They beat Clemson at Clemson. They probably have as much right to grab as anybody. And to John's point, if Ole Miss beats Kentucky, they're in the playoffs. But it might have knocked Tennessee out. They might have only taken 3 SEC teams still, and Tennessee at 10-2 might have got knocked out if Ole Miss beats Kentucky.
Yep. Well, you're the man.
We keep talking about strength of schedule. Tennessee's 10-2 season was based, I know it was in the SEC, but don't tell me how difficult Tennessee's schedule was. It was set up for them to make the playoff. South Carolina, I thought, was a better team. I thought Ole Miss was a better team.
Yep. But you know what?
I'd give Tennessee credit for beating Alabama, but I don't think Tennessee would have beaten Ole Miss.
We come back.
I don't think it would have beaten South Carolina.
We come back on the other side, 865-200-5402. Interesting stuff. Phil Steele joined us last hour. We're dovetailing on that conversation and taking you through your Tuesday. We'll burn the TLD Logistics phone lines up as we continue right after this.
Guests appear on the TLD Logistics hotline. Online at tldlogistics.com.
Your Smokies are back home this week, and so many great promotions every single night, like all-you-can-eat Wednesday and Thirsty Thursday with half-off draft beers. But this Thursday, we also have dueling pianos. Friday, we're celebrating Shark Week style.
Captain America.
Saturday, Captain America, the Hulk, you name it. It's Marvel Superhero Night with a free comic book giveaway. And we close the week on Sunday with Pete the Cat.
Here comes Pete.
Grab your tickets now at SmokiesBaseball.com.
Whether it's baseball, football, softball, church groups, or schools, if you're raising money, do it with locally roasted Grade A Grounds coffee. I'm Billy Miller, a Vol alum and Knoxville native. You keep 40% of sales, and we donate 5% back to our East Tennessee community. Get started today by visiting our website at gradeagrounds.com.
Since 2001, High-Branch Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling has been the trusted and preferred name for over 70,000 Knoxville locals. Looking for expert plumbing services and HVAC services, including repairs, replacements, or maintenance. Voted best plumber in Knoxville. and one of Knoxville's best HVAC companies 7 years in a row. Pipe Wrench is a fully licensed mechanical contractor and committed to excellence and craftsmanship, so you can trust our certified experts to go above and beyond to meet your plumbing and HVAC needs, no matter what problem arises. We also make it easy with transparent pricing, free on-site estimates for replacement, and free second opinions on repairs. And if budgets are tight, we offer flexible payment plans including 0% financing with credit approved. Be sure to ask about our 10-plus year warranties that are 2 times longer than industry standards, so you don't spend a cent on unexpected costs in the future. So call Pipe Wrench at 865-264-8090 or look online at pipewrench.com to schedule your appointment today. And as always, same-day service guaranteed, or the visit is free.
Hi, I'm Jim Simpson, owner of Simpson Meats. When's the last time you grilled a really good burger or steak? One your friends still talk about. Our goal at Simpson Meats is to make that happen every time you have a cookout. All of our cuts of meats, steaks, burgers, briskets, and pork are always fresh, flavorful, and sustainably sourced. We are family owned, so we know the importance of knowing how and where your food is raised. We have been putting quality first since 1888. Visit our butcher shop off Lovell Road or online at simpsonmeats.com.
Life never stops moving. And between the 30-minute commutes, daycare pickups, weekly soccer practice, Tuesday night yoga, X number of coffee runs, and that weekend trip to Grandma's, you're racking up the miles. What you need is a tire that can keep up. A tire designed for doers. A tire that's going to last. Like the exceptionally long-lasting Michelin Defender tire. With an 80,000-mile warranty and the safety and comfort you expect, you can forget all about the miles ahead and focus on getting to your destination or conquering your to-do list. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. That's Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire. Basilio here for Budget Transmissions. TGMD, the great Matt Dixon, took his Ford Escape to budget, and like our Gold Bullet back in the day, it was a total mess. And now, Matt's back in the game. He's got a new transmission, axle, wheel bearing, both radiator hoses, engine mounts, coolant hoses. I mean, his Ford Escape was about to escape to the junkyard, but he didn't begrudge it. He took it to budget, and now he's on his way back to Omaha. Budget Transmissions, over 30 years in business, conveniently located in Bearden. All extended service contracts are honored. A gold certified Repair Pal member. 865-584-4391. 865-584-4391. Budget Transmissions. Don't begrudge it. Take it to budget.
Hey there, Basilio family. Jennifer Morris here with Keller Williams Realty. The countdown to fall football is on. Is your fall plan missing the perfect home to watch the Vols make another playoff run? If a new view is on your game day checklist, I'm ready to help you find it. Don't wait until kickoff. Give me a call today at 865-694-5904 or visit my website at nextmovesmokymountains.com. That's nextmovesmokymountains.com, and go Vols.
Tony B here with the great Zakai Ziegler for
Hey,
Advent.
whoa. Tony, I got this. Hey, Tennessee, it's Easy here. Next time you have an electric issue at your home or business, call my friends at Advent Electric. With offices in Knoxville and Nashville, it's Mama's Easy approved.
You heard it from the most electrifying player in the league. Call the service professionals at Advent Electric, 865-588-0631. Online, adventelectric.com. Tell them ZZ sent you. Tony B back with you, 865-200-5402. As we welcome you back, by the way, Tennessee football recruiting, they continue to blow and go. X is going to join us Thursday, live and in living color, and we're looking forward to unpacking what's happened with him. In the meantime, we get ready to go back to our phones on a day where we've been talking about these numbers that Phil Steele has given us. And if you would like to play and have some fun with it, you could go over and check out our friends at VIP Play. Because, ladies and gentlemen, you can go claim your VIP Play welcome bonus. You make that first bet of $5 or more, $100 in bonus bets instantly. Promo code is TNTony. Maybe you want to reach out today to Robert Kowalski, because if you don't find a bet there, you can't find a bet where you, on your sports book, they're going to make it for you. I'm wondering how many calls Phil Cuzzy will blow in his next start behind the plate in the bigs, because his umpiring last night in the Phillies-Giants game was one of the most atrocious things I've ever witnessed. I mean, he made Angel Compost from the Tennessee fame, from the Arkansas series. He made him look like a solid umpire last night. Phil Cuzzy was awful last night. But let's get back to my friends at VIP Play, because when you bet $5 or more, $100 in bonus bets is going to appear in your account. And they've just dropped some new updates, and they're constantly making the app better and better as they listen to you. As they've just touched down, the Eagle has landed. Daily profit boost, 25% Major League Baseball parlay profit boost. 3 picks or more, they've got you covered. Also remember NBA Summer League, Wimbledon, another major in golf right around the corner. 200 leagues, always live. Numerous bet types, props, options. If you have a bet in mind, again, you can't find it at your sports book, reach out to them. Say, Killer Kowalski, help me out here. Hook a brother or hook a sister up. And he going to do exactly that. VIP Play, because everybody gets treated like a VIP Play. Gambling problem, 800-889-9789. 21 and over. Located in our great state of Tennessee to place a bet. And we go back to our phones at 865-200-5402. And let's, without further ado, get our next call in. Hello and welcome. You are on the air. Welcome in.
How my French compatriots doing today?
W. Lynn, welcome in.
Tony, I think Phil Steele is the best annual guest you have every year. And I really feel for him because, I've always done my own preseason poll based on starters returning and your record from last year. You can't do that anymore. You're looking through this magazine I've got. I hadn't got his yet. And got people listed with 5 starters returning like Ole Miss. And that's what the transfer portal era has done. You just can't go by that anymore. And I feel for him trying to figure all that out.
John, he was telling us that a couple of head coaches, one head coach had told him that they had an open date this past fall and found out that one of their football players had taken a visit to another school during the open date.
That's awesome.
And then he was talking about how, his thing is so formulaic and he would lay it from year to year. And now, the formula is almost busted. Do we think John Nico will be the last to pull that stunt in the spring?
Oh, no. It's a matter of time before somebody does it at the end of the regular season going into the playoffs. Why wouldn't they? That's the prime time for leverage. If your team's made eventually we'll have a 16-team playoff. You're one of those 16 teams. Your quarterback says, okay, here was our contract, but that was for the regular season. We're a playoff team now, and I want to help us win a championship. And I'm going to need more. I'll need more money. You think Ohio State or Texas or Tennessee wouldn't pay him more money to keep him around?
Or
you got a chance to win a national title?
Or in the old NFL days before these guys became quadrillionaires, they used to hold out in training camp. You'd see guys come to camp and hold out in training camp. You wonder if that happens in college football at some point, where guys just come to camp and go, I've decided you're going to pay me more if you want to see me on the field this year.
Well, you saw the UNLV quarterback last year.
Yeah.
He left.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to happen more and more.
Once the fall semester's over, it's the end of the semester. And they can leave.
That's
a great
when
the
point.
Playoffs going on.
That's a great point, W. Lynn.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying they can renegotiate going into the playoffs. If you want your quarterback or your top wide receiver or your best pass rusher to play, you're going to need to come up with some more money to make it worth his time. Otherwise, he needs to start preparing for the draft or start looking around for a better deal in the portal.
I wonder when these fans tell people, this has been a lot of fun. See you later. They better be careful here.
Yeah, because some guy his agent tells him you're going to be the top 10 player in the NFL draft. And let's say he's getting $500,000 at Alabama. Agent might say, I'll give you $3 million right now to miss the playoff. What are we going to do about it?
Nothing, W. Lynn, nothing.
And, yeah, it's like you're saying, the fans might say that's why we got to have collective bargaining and all this stuff. Contracts must go through the last game, counting the playoffs. That's all got to come in the future. But I'll tell you something Phil Steele ought to do. I would buy a magazine. If he did a mid-season magazine with the requirement that every team has played at least 6 games and then reevaluate everything, I'd buy that magazine.
Wow. I'll pass that along.
It would be hard to produce that in a magazine form. You could do it on the web, but not in a magazine.
But Philly made some points about who people play and all that stuff, before they come here, which is great. Florida plays Mississippi State on October 18th at home. They don't play another home game for 34 days, and that's Tennessee. They have a 34 home game drought before they're playing in the Marsh again.
Hey, Matt, what did Florida do to somebody to have this schedule? Who did they offend, Matt? Have we ever taken 5 weeks off, Matt, in the middle of a schedule?
I'm not sure what Florida did. They didn't help by playing a tough non-conference schedule by adding, Miami on top of Florida State at the end of the year. But I'm not sure them in Oklahoma, they need to get together and figure out who they've wronged, because both of those teams have been absolutely screwed 2 years in a row.
I mean, it's like scoring lovers or something.
Texas and Oklahoma coming in at the same time. Texas got a favorable schedule. It's fairly difficult, but nothing like Oklahoma's. It's almost like they said, Oklahoma, you're not going to be winning anything for a while. It's the interim schedule. That's another thing. I'm just whatever you want to do, go ahead and do it. I mean, we need a permanent schedule, and you need a rotation. It's very. I just don't like the way it's set up. But Oklahoma's schedule is totally unfair, and so is Florida's.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, and I don't know what anybody did, but I see another thing about to happen. Auburn's struggling, and they're about to go the way of somewhere between Tulane and Mississippi State if Alabama has their way. I think Alabama smells blood in the water, and we're going to go back to, if somebody breaks the rules, Alabama's going to make sure Auburn gets punished.
Well,
Auburn's they're not a dog in the fight much anymore in that state.
What's going on with that, John? I would have thought Hughes would have done a better job.
Well, I thought he would have too, but I thought Auburn did well in the transfer portal. Now, it's not faring right well in the next recruiting cycle for 2026. It's had some decommitments, but it's spent money in NIL going into this season. I think it's a much better team than it was last year. But I will say, Hugh Freeze, I wonder on a lesser scale if he might be the next Jimbo Fisher. That maybe Hugh Freeze, the guy's got prostate cancer. He's battled that. He might have kind of lost his edge. He's made his money, had a nice career. I'm not sure he has the same edge. Certainly Jimbo Fisher didn't when he went to Texas A&M.
W. Lynn, you're my man. Great call, brother.
Great show, Tony.
Incredible. We'll take this into our TLD Logistics Overdrive overtime and do a little of that, because we'll do a little bit of this and a little bit of that, because it's like this and like that and like this. As John Adams is with us today on a incredible And I mean, you're breaking it down scientifically kind of Tuesday. So if you want to get in the hunt and in the mix with us, 865-200-5402. I want to encourage you to check out tclub.team. I want to encourage you to check us out over to YouTube, Tony Basilio's show. Like and subscribe there. Pump the like button. You goofballs that are in there right now, you're the few, the proud, but you won't be in time. We love you. We thank you. I thank you. We love you. John Adams thanks you. Mr. Abbott, we thank you. Peace.
WJBE 1040 AM 99.7 FM. Translator W259AP. Powell, Knoxville.
It's TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime, presented by TLD Logistics. Online at tldlogistics.com. And now let's go to the guys with today's edition of TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime.
I'm one of those guys. Matt, are you fired up right now?
I'm starting to get there.
That's fun, isn't it? The preparation for a football season, it's starting to feel real to me. It's fun. Very fun.
The thing about it is once it starts, though, it flies by. It seems to go by a crawl leading up to the season, and once that season starts, it's gone in the blink of an eye. Next thing you know, you're selecting the playoff teams.
Yeah, next thing you know, you're worried about what round we're getting beat in basketball.
What? The people on this selection committee,
yep.
I would be curious to see what if Vegas selected the playoff field. If those odds makers picked the 12-team field, how different it might look.
Well, if you put the numbers in it, you take the politics out of it, Because the thing we all know...
those guys aren't political.
The thing we all know... Well, money's not, The Vegas thing can't be political. They're too busy worried about getting it right.
Yeah.
And that is a great point you bring up, because the reporting on the SEC is as soon as the SEC saw, this is going to be as owners on, and it's not going to place a tremendous amount of influence on the number of great games that you play or the number of quality games you play, just that the quality of your schedule. They said, screw that, we're staying at 8. That's who they are. Matt, that does not surprise me one bit that they've arrived at that. It just doesn't. And like John said, maybe they could change and maybe they'll modify this playoff schedule in lieu of the reporting. Because as Throaty wrote, the Big Ten is not on board with the SEC staying at 8. Like, there's a little tug of war there. John, who has more clout? Us with the better teams in the better league, or them with the more eyeballs? Who has more clout? Us or the Big Ten?
I think the SEC does. But I think the SEC is still a better league than the Big Ten. Granted, Big Ten has had the one in the last 2 national championships. But when you look at the middle of the SEC, from the middle on down, there's a distinct difference in the caliber of teams than the Big Ten. You look at the top, the Big Ten is in good shape. But you go in that. See, we've been talking about it. You talk about all these teams like Ole Miss, Oklahoma, Missouri, Florida, Tennessee. Good gosh. I mean, they're all South Carolina. All these teams are bunched in there together. One of those teams could emerge as a playoff team.
Hey, Matt,
and the schedule will be a big factor in
Matt,
that.
I couldn't believe when they amended the win totals, right? That there's not a 10-2 in terms of the one loss, the over-under, in terms of the futures, the bets. I'm surprised there's not a 10-2 in the league until you stop and think about it. And then you think about an Alabama last year on their way to a playoff, getting clipped by a Vanderbilt, getting clipped by a Tennessee, getting clipped by an Oklahoma. Truth is, in this league, when you play one of those middle teams, South Carolina can get you. Who was it last year that kept Ole Miss from the playoff, Matt? It was one of the middle teams. Who was it? It was Kentucky, wasn't it?
Kentucky and Florida.
And Florida.
Kentucky was 1-7. That was their one.
Yeah, all they had to do was
so they weren't middle. They were bad.
Yeah, that was in Oxford too. I mean, you could at least, especially us Tennessee fans, you can explain away a loss in Gainesville to Lagwood, but that home loss to Kentucky.
Well, when you look at South Carolina, though, go back to how they do it in the NCAA basketball tournament. If you've got a guy, they factor in injuries. I think they factor in more stuff when they're selecting the tournament field. You go back to South Carolina, a tough schedule. It beat Clemson, and it lost to LSU when it blew a lead in the second half without its quarterback, who was injured in the first half.
Awesome game, John. That was a damn awesome game. Wow.
I know, but I'm just saying, if South Carolina wins that game, it's in the playoff. And I think if it hadn't lost its quarterback, it would have won the game.
Did I see, Matt, where LSU, I'm going to remember this right for John because I was wanting to bring it up Thursday to him. LSU's win total, John, if you want to bet on it, is 8-4. I'm sorry. Is it 9-3 or is it 8-4, guys? I've got it today.
It should be, I would think, 9-3, surely. It does play at Clemson to open the year. It's at Ole Miss, and it's at Alabama, and it's at Oklahoma.
John,
but I think LSU is loaded with talent.
I would think I'd put them at 8.5.
What are those people going to do, John, when this guy doesn't make the playoffs this year? Does he get fired?
I don't think he'll get fired because he's getting NIL money. They're recruiting really well. And again, the schedule is not favorable. LSU's and here's another issue that comes up. You talk about no 10-win teams. Texas is playing at Ohio State. Yep. LSU is playing at Clemson.
Yes.
Why do you schedule those games?
I love that.
You want to talk about playing only eight SEC teams. I mean, you'd be better off playing 9 SEC games and not playing at Ohio State or not playing at Clemson.
Disagree. I think it's better for the sport for those two leagues to play each other on a regular basis at the top and make it.
But they won't do it, Tony.
Well,
they won't do it.
But they're doing it. They're doing it. And by the way, LSU's win total is 8.5. They're the same as Tennessee's win total at 8.5, and Ole Miss's win total at 8.5. So let's go.
I wonder how many Tennessee players could start for LSU. Wouldn't be a lot.
This LSU love. This guy
schedule.
Matt, this LSU love. Goodness gracious, Matt.
Well, just look at that roster.
Oh God.
Well, they're not getting much love based on the talent.
8.5.
No, I think that to me is an indictment of Brian Kelly. People don't believe in Brian Kelly.
Back to our phones we go. Hello and welcome in on your TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime.
Why are y'all all stuck on the Gators and what we not gonna do and what y'all think we not gonna do? That don't mean nothing to me. That don't mean nothing to nobody. You win when you play the game. So I don't know why y'all still stuck on because DJ had a shoulder injury last year. You still think he don't have time to heal?
I think he's a wonderful.
People don't heal.
I think he's a wonderful talent. We all said that we think it's unfair what the schedule makers have done to Florida, and the fact that Florida goes 35 days, as W. Lynn pointed out, that's 5 whole weeks between home games. I mean, that's ridiculous. And Matt, if they come out of that stretch alive, That is going to be a crazy environment in that place. That probably night that we go in there, Matt. We're going to walk into a freaking hornet's nest that night, Matt, if they're alive for something.
Yeah, that would play into the series history. Or it could be a game where Napier's already been fired, Lagway's hurt, and Harrison Bailey throws for 400 in a win.
Interesting. We're open-minded to any kind of meltdown, Florida, from our perspective. Generally, I'd be on here talking trash to you, but I'm ready for any kind of sort of meltdown in that game for the Vols.
Well, I tell you what, y'all done had the little high school schedules for the past 2 years.
No
y'all
doubt.
Had the high school schedule.
No question. You get no argument from me.
About?
Been very generous toward us. It's been very generous toward us. Hey, John, how would Florida have done last year if they'd have played our schedule, do you think? Think they would have been around a playoff team?
I don't know if it would have last year because it didn't get Lagway in there right away. However, I think if you gave Florida Tennessee's schedule this year, its record would be markedly different. And I think if Tennessee had Florida's schedule, I think 6-6 would be a real possibility.
I agree with
Tennessee.
that. I agree with that, guys, especially breaking in a new quarterback. Because, Matt, the thing somebody brought up earlier was that whole Syracuse thing. That is a doorway game for the Vols. I would not want to play the front of Florida schedule breaking in a new quarterback like we are. I don't think that'd be very fun, Matt.
No, not at all. I think it's road games at LSU and at Miami. And they might play Comrade Golish before that.
Yeah, and
they
Comrade
got Ole Miss.
Yeah, and Ole Miss. I mean, John's right. I mean, we could be staring down the barrel if the quarterback thing doesn't work out here, and you're playing that schedule. You could be staring at a 1-3 start or an 0-4 start.
You could be, yeah. I mean,
wow.
Florida's plays at LSU, at Miami, Texas, at home, at Texas A&M. 4 straight weeks,
Shit.
No open dates.
Shit, Florida. I mean, what did you guys do to somebody? That's ridiculous.
Who is there? But y'all looking at these teams like y'all looked at them last year.
Yeah.
And Texas A&M to me was a disappointment. Texas the only one that came out of that whole group that I would kind of put a little fear in for. But Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin don't ever get he always get trashed. It's just who he plays. He got Kirby last year, but good Lord, man. Give my people some credit, bro. What if we make it out of this? What are y'all going to do when we make it out of it? What are you going to say? What is John Adams going to say?
If I do that, I'm in like Flint, man.
And John Adams, and Hater, and Hater Brian, and Hater. Man, come on, bro. Y'all be real about this. This stuff's gonna get real on y'all this year. Because it's 12 teams. Somebody got to go.
Yep. You guys got something to say to Florida, or are we just going to blow him up?
I'm having trouble. I'm having trouble hearing Florida. I think his cell phone has a Titans Bill quality to it.
God, is that right? Is that right, Florida?
Oh. Hey, John, that was a gut shot, brother.
Yeah, them's are fighting words right there. Hey, Florida, would you help me? Because I might need a rec letter from you or like a character reference letter because Rapper Andy has been trying to qualify for something called the Redneck Brawl, which is like a tough man contest up in Johnson City. And I don't know why John's laughing, but it's like in a month in Freedom Hall. And he put on his socials because he's been showing himself fighting, and you would really appreciate it. I mean, he does these like different TikToks and this sort of thing where he's in there. You could tell he's really grinding, like he's in the late night grinding. Anyway, he was supposed to be in it, and then he got word that he wasn't going to be in it anymore. Would you write a rec letter for him if I reach out to you? Like a character?
Hell no, because you know it's a damn shame when the rednecks don't want to deal with Andy's ass. It's a damn shame.
A character reference, maybe?
No, John Adams wouldn't even write a character reference on Andy's ass. Because you know, when the rednecks don't want to do what you know you're screwed.
Florida, couldn't you see him come into the ring that night, holding the mic, busting a rhyme on his way to the ring? I mean, couldn't you picture that, Florida?
I could picture Andy coming in last place, Tony B. I could picture him coming in last place because, like John Adams, the only true honest guy on your squad, he knows that I beat Andy. He knows.
Florida, thank you. Matt, should we use our bully
Tony,
pulpit?
I got to go. I'll see you guys
John,
later.
love you. Thank you. Matt,
Thanks.
Should we use our bully pulpit to get Andy in this deal? Should we leverage our, I don't know, whatever this is we do, I guess they call it a platform, several thousand strong. Should we turn our attention toward getting Rapper Andy? Because what if we get him in that thing and he just gets hammered? That's something I struggle with.
Yeah, that's not a good look for the show or the radio family.
I just don't want to get the kid hurt. I'm not worried about how it looks.
Yeah.
I mean, I just,
Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to know why he's not in there because I went on their Facebook page and saw some of the people competing in it, and it doesn't look like there's much that you have to. That's a low bar.
You have low confidence in Andy, thinking he's going to get hurt. Come on now.
Well, what I'm saying is, Bri, what if we got involved, right? And then the kid got in the ring and he ate a punch, and he ate a fist, or he got a kick to the face and got hurt. I don't want to get the kid hurt.
Andy obviously is willing to take that chance, or else he wouldn't be in it to begin with.
I gotta say, Andy, if you're listening or anybody's listened to us and knows Andy, his workout videos are pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. I did one the other day on YouTube, Matt. Followed along with this gal that does a workout video. It was like 25 minutes long. I got up the next day and every part of my body, every ligament in the back of my legs, my quads, I don't have any calf muscles, they hurt. All these parts of my body I never work. And I mean, I was in some damn pain. No offense. Andy, I respect you. Andy, when I saw you, your kicking, your motions, your range of motion, you're getting after it, fam. I respect it, Andy. Back to the phones we go. I'm really debating as to whether or not to get involved. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air.
Hey, Tony. It's Sam in Nashville.
Hey, Sam. Good to talk to you.
I'm out walking the golf course. It's nice and warm.
I would imagine. Are you playing golf or just walking?
Both.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, that's the way to play the game.
I just made a birdie, so I'm fired up, focused, and prepared.
Nice. All right. What was the distance of the hole?
It's a 360 dogleg par 4.
Nice.
And a 3-wood gap wedge to about 3 feet.
Nice. Right on, brother.
But that LSU 8.5, you're basically betting, are they going to beat Clemson or not? In my eyes. Because if they lose that, then I don't see them. Brian Kelly's going to be, I don't know what's going to go through his head if they lose another opener.
Matt, what did you make of John with that whole thing about how many players Tennessee has to start for LSU? It's not what we're talking about. I mean, we're talking about 8.5, brother. And by the way, we got to play our schedule, and you got to play yours. Where'd that come from, Matt? This LSU, this John Adams LSU fascination, Matt. Would you care to unpack that for me now that he's not on here to defend himself?
I'm not sure. It seems like it's been a lifelong thing for John.
But he claims he's not an LSU fan. But he's obviously an LSU. When you're on the golf course and you're out there balling out, didn't you hear him sound like an LSU fan to you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be like me going and riding for Oklahoma, but I grew up in East Tennessee, so I'm going to talk about the Vols at some point.
Of course you are. It's your part of your deal. It's where you grew up. I mean, I don't know why these guys won't admit it either. Come on, Adams. Admit it.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's all right.
Hey, one of the lines on Tennessee with Phil Steele.
Yep.
I really like Tennessee to cover Vandy at the end of the year.
The number
Mostly
was
because of Diego Pavia running his mouth.
Well, and Pavia, it's minus 14. And the sad thing for Pavia is there's going to be very, very little left to him by the time that rolls around, because he only knows one way to play. Hey, guys, one of my concerns about Joey football, Matt, is that he doesn't learn how to moderate. If you're going to stay in this league and you're going to play in this league, you got to pick your spots, guys. You can't fight for every down. It's not, at times you got to get on the ground. Do you all know what I mean?
It's the Larry Bird effect.
Well, you just got to pick your spots.
He played so hard that it took his toll when he couldn't stay in the league as long as you would have thought.
Pavia, to your point, Pavia, I mean, you're a Tennessee fan, but you live in Nashville. Do you respect the Pavia kid?
Yeah, I respect him, but you talk crap about Tennessee, I'm going to feel a certain way.
Exactly. But I like the fact that he talked a little junk. I would rather that than be a mind-numb robot. Wouldn't you rather have a little flair to you and add a little something to the rivalry, even if you can't back it up?
I mean, the guy we had last year certainly didn't have any of that in him.
But he was a flatliner. The guy we had last year, this Nico guy, he didn't make one player around him better. And I'm not dumping on him. Hey, I'm not saying anything I didn't say into a microphone last year as the year was going along. He didn't raise the level of one guy around him. And when you're playing quarterback, you can be too rah-rah-y, whatever. One thing you can't say about Pavia is he walked on that field and he was a player of consequence from day one for that Vanderbilt team. From day one, man. I respect that.
Yeah, I do too. I just don't think they're going to have enough.
No, we're going to beat the hell out of them. We're going to beat the absolute dog shit out of them. That'll be minus 14. We'll beat them sight unseen, 42-14, something like that.
Yeah, and that Kentucky line at 7, that's wild to me. I mean, I know it's at Kentucky, but I'm with John. I don't think they're on the down. I mean, they're going to spend money in basketball as they should, and this is probably – I'd give it a 90% chance that this year they explode in football.
Matt, what do you think? Because they went 1-7 last year in the league, Matt. What do you think the league mark is that Kentucky puts up? Top of the mark, league mark for him.
Double the high end.
Double.
I mean, I think if they go 3-5 in the league, that would be a really good year for them.
Yep. Because then they could get their 5 MAC wins. I mean, hell, at that point, they're in a mid-tier bowl game. How would you like to play Kentucky's schedule every year? Play the MAC and then play the entire MAC, play Louisville, play an SEC schedule. How do they manage to do that, Brian? They get like 5 MAC teams on their schedule every year.
Well, geography-wise, they're closer to the MAC, and talent-wise, they're probably closer to the MAC too.
Interesting. Anything else for us in Nashville? What's your next shot here? Walk us through this. I want to hit a shot with you.
I had 180 on this par 3, and I just pured a 6-iron straight over the flag, but about 30 feet deep. So
damn it! I hate when that happens.
I got too fired up listening to the show, I guess.
Did you tee that up, or was it a flying lie?
No, it was a par 3.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
All right.
Oh, and I'll give you another. So
yeah,
I was playing golf at Tennessee Tech when Watson Brown was the coach there.
Oh, wow.
Great guy.
That's cool.
Great guy.
Did you ever get a chance to interact with him when you were down there?
No, I saw him at some of the sporting kind of get-together things.
Yeah,
but
real dude.
But, yeah, I had friends with some of the football players. So
real guy.
Indirectly.
Really good man. Really cares about people.
So,
Watson does.
Going out the door on Syracuse, I'm not going to call a line, but I would take the under. It's 55.5 right now.
Pretty interesting. Thank you, my friend.
Hey, what years did you play golf at Tech, if you don't mind saying?
I graduated Roane County High in 2010 and then played there for 2 years.
Okay.
So 2010 through 12.
Right on, my brother. Great talking to you. Roane County boys can survive.
That's right.
Thank you, my man. He got a shotgun rifle and a front-wheel drive. Roane County boys will survive. Matt Dixon, do you have you had fun on today's show? And what did you think of today's exercise and futility?
Well, whenever you have Phil Steele on, it's one of the more informative days of the year, and it really is kind of, you can look at it as the unofficial kind of kickoff to the season. It really starts getting me going. So I've been doing that here ever since I got his magazine over the last few days, and I guess a week or so. Started diving in and slowly getting into football mode. So a lot of uncertainty, especially around Tennessee. But everybody has uncertainty right now because there's just not a lot of proven quarterbacks.
Well,
that's the easiest way to. The easiest way to have a very long year is to have poor quarterback play, and it seems like that might wind up happening to a lot of teams this year.
Yes.
Don't you just like looking around at some of the bad quarterbacks you'll see on a weekly basis, and especially in these midweek type games?
You know what I hope,
in
Brian?
these
Hey, Brian.
Group of 5 leagues, it's just it's sort of in a way kind of, I don't know if what this says about me, but I think it's kind of funny to watch.
It is funny to watch, Brian, but you never hope happens to you? That. Because you know what can happen to you in this day and age? That. There are teams and programs that invested a lot of money in their quarterbacks. Like if you look at that class of Nico year, right now there's not much. It's such an interesting, the whole quarterback thing and the way these guys jump around and move around and they have all these handlers. It's just such a bunch of bullshit when you get right down to it. For lack of a better way of putting it, it's just totally stupid. We have all these quarterback coaches and gurus, and quarterback play's never been worse.
It really makes you appreciate a Heupel because I don't think he's ever going to have quarterback play as bad as you've seen at some places. It'll always be somewhat respectable, even when he has a lesser quarterback.
Boy, Nico last year was pretty lost, y'all. Thank you. Matt, thanks, babe. Thank you, Bri. Till we meet again, my name's Basilio. I hope you have a great one. Enjoy the rest of this July day. And God willing, we'll come back tomorrow and do it together on the answer line. We love you. Appreciate you. Let's see here. Run today's show back here. All right, hang on. All right, let's see here. Oh, man. All right, here we go.
W259AB. Powell.
Fired up, focused, and prepared. Tony Basilio along with you. Phil Steele's going to meet the media today. We're going to put him through the car wash here over at tclub.team. Turn my video on. I want people to see how pretty I am today because I look pretty. Brian Hartman, we've invited Phil Steele on. We've been doing this dog and pony show with Phil Steele for like 30 years now. As long as he's had a book, I don't know. We found him the first year. And I talked about it today on the blog over at tclub.team. But look, I'm not exactly high on Tennessee this year, although some of the kids talk me into it. And I love it. I'm for you, not against you. And I'm all into the glass half full thing, but you got to have playmakers. That said, I'm not as out as Phil Steele. I mean, my gosh, Matt. Phil Steele thinks we're Slaw. He thinks we're Vanderbilt, Matt.
When y'all going down there?
What's going on
he's
here?
Certainly playing the under on the win total.
The under? You think?
It's kind of odd that he has Tennessee as low as he projects them to finish as low as he does. So
when are you planning on coming by?
Brian,
I mean, I think they're 44th in the one that kind of projects the season.
Yep.
They're actually 20th in his kind of power poll thing.
Yep.
But I mean, if you finish 44th, I mean that's going 7-5, maybe 6-6.
He's got Nebraska 28th and Florida State 31st.
Yeah, but that doesn't something in Denmark doesn't smell right here, because none other than, and Phil Steele's going to join us here momentarily, but none other than my boy Robert Killer Kowalski told me Tennessee he's a 9-point favorite against Nebraska in the on a home field this year, on a neutral field this year. So nothing about that makes sense. Does feel as we say with Powell? Does Phil need to check his? Does he need to check his? You think, Matt, his system here? Does his system need a checking?
Yeah, he needs to rerun the models. So, which I mean, it's actually something we can ask him about with all in this portal era with so much roster turnover. How do you use numbers to project teams? Because it's got to be harder than ever, because you literally have no clue. And Tennessee might be the biggest test case ever that he's had with Nico leaving after spring.
Phil Steele he calls in his write-up, he calls the Vols a potential playoff team, then puts them 44th. But Matt, to your point, I mean, imagine being him and having 130 teams that you take seriously. And if you look at his stuff, he does take 130 teams seriously. And then as these guys are leaving, and then when Nico pulls a trick and walks right out on them in the middle of the spring, what is Phil supposed to do? I mean, stop and think about it, guys. What is he supposed to do? How are you supposed to handle that? Like Matt said, Brian, true or false? 9 ACC teams ranked ahead of the Vols. 9 ACC teams, Brian. Is that right?
That's what I counted, except including Florida State, who was 2-10 last year.
No, I love Phil Steele. Is he huffing paint?
And
is this
Louisville.
Is this guy huffing paint? Louisville.
But if they're
Chris
a
Burke.
playoff contender, did the playoffs expand to 32 teams without us knowing it?
Yeah. What are we going to, like the 1AA model of 24 teams?
I mean, is it basketball style now? Who knows?
True or false, Matt Dixon? He has Florida State, who went 2-10 last year, and is cash poor on 10 continents right now. I think Tennessee's got 5 times more money available than Florida State does. Florida State's got these onerous NIL contracts they've been talking about, which basically own these kids lock, stock, and barrel when they sign with them, and people have been ripping them across that space. I mean, what are we doing, Matt? Does this Steele guy, Matt, hate us? Is that what's going on here? Does this guy hate us?
Man, he must hate the 2025 Vols. Maybe Hypo didn't give him an interview this year or something, because it's not like Tennessee has some brutal schedule.
My gosh,
it's one of the more favorable schedules. So,
I mean, don't let Bino see this. Don't let Bino see this. Don't let Bino hear this. Bino, turn it off. Turn your device off, Bino. Here's the deal. NC State, guys, true or false, who we beat like a drum last year. Brian, does he have them ahead of us this year, yes or no? What are we doing,
Yes, he does.
Phil
He has them at 41. And he didn't see the game last year, I guess, but he watches all these games.
So 20th,
has 20 TVs in front of him.
20th in his preseason power poll, but 9th in the ACC. It must be a hell of an ACC, Matt. I mean, what can I say? Here's the thing about Phil Steele. We've gone round and round, right, in the past. I put a thing on the blog today about there was a year where he was right about the Vols, and I called him back at midseason and had him on and said, you get to take a victory lap. And then there was one year where he did this and the Vols had a good year, and he came back around and came on with us and said, hey, I'm going to own it. So we've been doing business with Phil Steele for a long time. I can have some fun with him. I reserve that right. We are going to have some fun with him, but we are also going to talk about when you're in his prognostication business, and more to the point, when you're in the business of trying to set lines for this, because he over there with their gambling service at Gold Coast, they sell touts and whatnot. But when you're in that whole space, how do you quantify what's in front of you, especially in the summer, especially in light of what's happened here at Tennessee? We're going to have a most interesting conversation with Phil Steele, as they call him on Feinbaum's show, and we're going to come back on the other side, and we're going to commence with that. Matt, are you pumped for this? Because we also got to get some lines for every Tennessee game. Bri, do you have those written out when I go through the schedule? Do you have are you ready to fill in the blanks?
Yeah.
All right.
And the playoff teams from last year, the lowest ranked playoff team, he's got all 11 of them, 23rd or higher. Arizona State's 23, and Tennessee is 44.
My gosh, man. This guy hates
Indiana
us.
20, Boise State 15, SMU 12, Oregon 8, and the top 6 he's got.
He's going to be
Where does he have UCLA, Brian?